I clicked start stream, gang, and you can hear her. Lola decided now's the time that I want to bark at the thing that's outside. Now's the time. You want to do stream? Oh no, master. Streaming? What are you doing? We're gonna bark at the car that drove past outside, apparently. Okay. I think that's good. I think we're okay. Cameraman, first. Yes, you are. Welcome to the stream. Honkler, nice to see you. Why does Twitch TV hate me? Well, because you're Jewish. As we'll find out today. I'm not even kidding. You think this is a joke. You think I'm like, ha ha ha. Oh, that's funny, Wick. That's funny that you say this. No, I'm not kidding. Like, they really do hate you. They do. And that's sad. I'm saying this in a jovial tone because of the ridiculous nature of this. Of how ridiculous this is to say. And for it to be true, right? It's one of those things where, like, I would have 2 years ago, I would have argued to death with you about this. I would have been like, no, this is just not true. I would have argued you back and forth. I'd have been so fucking wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I would have been so fucking wrong. As we're going to find out today, okay? We have a lot of examples. Okay, we have a lot of examples to go through. Check my Discord for a second. Oh, God. Do I have to? What am I looking at? Hold on, let me scroll down. Yeah, what are you wanting me to say here? Exactly. What am I looking at? Israel's plans to attack Iran were leaked. I mean, maybe I'd have to look at it. This guy just posted this in my Discord. I have no idea if it's true or not. I haven't even clicked on the link. He just dropped it like a minute ago. So maybe, I don't know, right? And we can maybe go through that. But first, let's go through, later on stream we might. But first, I want to talk about how Twitch and many of the lefties on Twitch, and the righties too, to be clear, right, are anti-Semitic, right? So let's watch to start, to begin, to kick it off. Ethan Klein released a video last night, okay? It's not a very long video. It's about 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody.
We're going to go through it. We're going to watch it together. He says it better than I can, and we'll just kind of go through it, and we'll talk about it a little bit. I saw this right before I went to bed last night. It made me angry. The whole situation makes me angry. It makes me upset. It upsets me. So we're going to watch it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why it upsets me. We're going to talk about what this means, right? In a very real way. But let's look at it. Let me adjust it so you can see it a little better. Hold on. I know. Wick, when are you ever going to be fully prepared for these things? You know what? That's a good question. That's fine. That's fair to say. But let's watch. Okay.
It's Ethan Klein from my basement. Beautiful Friday evening. My kids just went to sleep.
Saturday evening.
And I opened Reddit to browse my community, who I love so well. And at the top of the subreddit is this very lovely clip entitled, "Just a casual panel provided by Twitch at their con, broadcasted on their official channel." What is it? Well, it's a panel hosted by Frogan and 4 of her friends, in which they have a tier list where they rate people where good is Arab and bottom is loves Sabra.
Yeah, let's look at this for a moment. So the top, the green, you guys have seen tier lists, right? You know how this works. On the top, the S tier, the best tier, the tier everyone wants to be, right? That's the good tier, etc. And then the bottom is the F tier, the crap, the dross, okay? So let's look at what these things are. The Arab at the top here, you got Arab. Then you got Arab coded. I know it's hard to see because this guy's arm's in the way, but we'll get to it. You'll see it. We have asks perms in the middle, thinks it's a slur, and then at the end, loves Sabra. Let's keep watching. Let's see what he has to say.
Sabra is a very popular hummus brand. I know in Israel, it's pretty much in everybody's refrigerator, and it's kosher. They're an American company, but they've been the subject of the pro-Palestine boycott. I mean, it's kind of just Arab good, Jew bad. I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing this any other way. And what's crazy,
it's not just hummus, by the way. It is, as he says, but it's not. So, if you don't know, Sabra is also slang. It's a term that it's a Sabra or a Zabar, right? Is a term used for people for Jews who were born in Israel. So if you were born Israeli, you were considered Sabra or Zabar. I'm probably pronouncing that last one wrong. Please forgive me, right? But that's what it is. So this is kind of like a double entendre, right? Where it means a couple different things, but it absolutely means Jews. We know this, right? Jews, or maybe Jew lover, if you wanted to give them the best charity possible. But let's keep watching the video. I won't interrupt too much. I'm sorry. I keep doing this.
is that I've been suspecting that Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem. Obviously, it started with Hassan platforming Houthi terrorists and showing unfettered
It didn't start there, but let's keep going.
terrorist propaganda on his channel. But now they've unbanned Sneeko.
Down with the Yahud! Down with the Yahud!
And they've just unbanned Fresh and Fit this week. These are two of the most prolific Jew-hating creators on the entire internet. And these are the two they've targeted to bring back. Now, taking this all in account, here's an officially...
Keep in mind, Destiny is still banned for his comments, right? And Asmongold recently got a 2-week suspension for his comments, but Sneeko? Huh. Oh, come on back, come on in. Fresh and Fit, come on back, come on in. Kick found out about this, by the way, about all this anti-Semitism. So in a stunning move, to compete for the anti-Semite viewership, right? They've let Nick Fuentes on their streams. And I'm not even kidding, right? Kick has reached out and let Nick Fuentes stream on their platform, right? So because they realized that a lot of the viewers that watch Twitch hate Jews, so what better way to compete for the viewership than to get Nick Fuentes on there? But anyway, let's keep going.
sanctioned event at TwitchCon. Let's take a look at it and see what exactly is Twitch endorsing here.
Okay.
It's the perfect transition to our first person, Hassan.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder where they're going to put Hassan. I'm going to guess they're going to put him in Arab.
Hassan is Turkish, but he's a brother,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah, I think he'd be on Arab coded.
I mean, I would put him in Arab, to be honest.
I would put him also in Arab.
Which is great. That's the good one. That's the one you want.
Austin, let's go down the line.
He's
Arab.
Arab.
He's Arab.
Arab.
He's
He's
actual
Arab.
Lebanese. Like,
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, Austin.
The next person is one of my favorite people,
I don't know who Austin is.
Ethan Klein.
I told you guys to clap.
This is a good reaction.
That was a good one. That's
Oh, Jewish.
Dude, where's the? You guys are missing a category for Zionist. That was a joke. That was just a joke in my.
stand up.
We're We're very proud of you, Denims, for bringing anti-Semitism right on stage, and you guys are killing it. And may I point out here, Chevron, Capcom, and Samsung. Do you know that there is an Arab to Jew tier list happening in front of your sponsor? And you guys were so kind to sitting right in front of them. Chevron, Samsung, and Capcom. By the way, a bit of irony. I love that they're boycotting hummus and sitting in front of a Chevron logo. Like, yeah, I wonder which one's doing more damage. Okay. We know Twitch is like place favorites with everything. If they were really serious about anti-Semitism, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit would never have been brought back to the platform. It's just a no-brainer, right? But they were welcomed back with open arms. And I mean, their whole platform essentially for the past year has just been anti-Semitism. I'm not even kidding. And that's literally all they talk about.
I've been saying this. I've been telling you people. Wick right number, time number 549. I don't know, right? I said this right out the gate. Right out the gate. Seeing how the difference between how Jewish people were treated after October 7th and how any other group is treated, right? The just disdain, the dehumanization, the laughter, ha ha ha, Jewish, right? They use other words, but it means that. Like everyone in my comments and things, oh, it's just food. They were just making fun of food. If I put together a tier list, okay? Gang. If I put together a tier list, and at the top of the tier list, I had whites. Whites, okay? The goods. Whites, good, okay? And at the bottom of the tier list, I had likes watermelon and fried chicken. Do you think that would fly? Do you think I could say something like, no, man, a lot of white people love fried chicken too. It has nothing to do with race. Even though at the fucking top of the chart, we're racializing it, just right out the gate, okay? And then at the bottom, I have fried chicken, loves watermelon. We would understand. We would get why that refers to black people, right? We would get it, like just instinctively. In fact, people like Frogan, Denims, Hassan, all these people who are pretending there's nothing wrong with what they're doing here would be the first to condemn me. They would be like, how dare you? That's racist. They would understand. They would get it. But they either don't get it or don't care. I'm leaning towards don't care. I think they get it. But they don't give a shit, okay? We would understand. We would all understand why what I'm doing when I make a tier list that says white people or whites and it being the top and then loves fried chicken, loves watermelon at the bottom. We would understand. But for whatever reason, they turn a blind eye to this. I keep saying for whatever reason. We know the reason. They're anti-Semites. They hate Jews. They don't see Jews as people. They do not care. They don't see them as people. We understand this, correct? I'll get to your questions in a minute. Let's finish the video. Not very much longer.
I don't know what to say. You know, I've kind of been put in this position where, like, I watch this clip and I'm like, what the fuck am I actually watching? This is mad. I need to say something. Chevron, Samsung, and Capcom, they deserve to know.
And it really does. It feels like you're going insane because all these people who are so quick to call out dog whistles, to call out like different racial stereotypes and people being racist, suddenly have nothing to say. They're silence. They're either defending it, And I've seen, we're going to go through a few posts defending it, right? Or they're just silent. And it feels like you're going mad. Like you're going insane. How can you not see this? This is the clearest fucking thing. It's easy.
You know, I know Capcom put in a Shmuley the Rabbi in the next Street Fighter game, who attacks with the dreidels and throws foreskin. So they are very in touch with the Jewish identity. So we're going to have to ask them. That's it. Enjoy the weekend.
I will.
I know there's going to be lots of
How dare he lie to me? That wasn't it.
obfuscating and excuses for this video. And, you know, let's be real, guys. Let's just look at this optically. Imagine this flipped. Super Jew and colonizer on the bottom, right? And I go, Frogan. We know where she goes. She goes to the bottom. Like, let's be fucking real, okay? No one else would get that treatment. So don't even try to pretend or act like this is some innocent
preaching.
little mistake.
He's
and
preaching.
that one of the guys there is Jewish. I just don't care. I'm glad you have a Jewish friend. That's very nice. But at the end of the day, let's get real, okay? Get your shit together.
He's cooking. Is that what you kids say nowadays? They're cooking? Okay. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the case. We know this is the case. In any other instance, we saw an example of this with Asmongold. Asmongold had a shitty take. I'm not here to defend that take. I'm not here to defend what he said. He said things that were out of line, okay? Do I think he should have been banned for it? No. Do I think these people should be banned? No. That's aside, right? The way Asmongold was treated by these people, right? By a lot of the same people defending the Arab to Jew tier list, right? They're defending it. We're attacking Asmongold. How dare Asmongold say that? How dare Asmongold do that? Because they know and they understand why it's wrong to do. They get it when it's anyone but Jews. When it's anyone but Jews, they understand. This is why I call them anti-Semitic, because they have a different standard for Jews and what's allowed to be done to Jews than any other group. Any other group. If you do it to Palestinians, to black people, to Mexicans, to any other group, they understand why it's not okay. Why it's not okay. But when you look at them doing it, when they're the ones in charge, right? When they're the ones posting it, oh no, it's just a joke, bro. Man, it's just look, I'm Jewish and I said it was okay, so you know it's okay. Fuck off. Let's look. Okay. Do you think Asmongold's statements were as bad as a cringe tier list? I think they were both bad in different ways. Yes, both are condemnable. I honestly, the thing about the tier list that bothers me more is the fact that people will fucking defend that shit. Like, I wasn't here defending what Asmongold said. I thought it was wrong to ban him, but I wasn't here defending what he said, right? I think it was callous and wrong. So it bothers me more because of the hypocrisy at play. Is that fair? I don't know, but it's true. It's just how it is. Let's see what some of these special people have been saying. Here's our friend. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. Oh, God. Oh, man. I make this so bad. Oh. Here's Capri Sun Poppy, whoever the fuck that is. He's one of those aristocracy guys, right? He might have even been on the panel, honestly. We actually I think he was actually. He says, we actually put Love Sabra on the list because I wanted to remind the panel of the time my father's people massacred my mother's people in Sabra and Shatila. It has nothing to do with ass store-bought hummus. It has to do with this very real, deeper meaning. Fuck off. Fuck off. You know that's not true. You know that's not true. How much money do you guys want to bet that we can look through this guy's account or whatever, and we can see what he said about Asmongold's comment? Do you think that he's going to be running? He's going to be like playing nuance, bro, with Asmongold's comment, or do you think he's going to call it racist and Islamophobic and condemn it? You guys want to play a game? You want to make some bets on this? What do you think? No, I didn't like the comment. Don't worry. I didn't like the comment. What do you think? Come on. Let's be real here, gang. Does anyone in the chat think he's going to be nuance broing Asmongold's comments? Or do you think he's going to be going through and condemning the shit out of it? Let's check live. I'm hesitant to do this live because sometimes I don't know what he has on his timeline, and I don't want any like titties to pop up or something, right? So let me look through this, and we will see. Okay. Oh, here's another one that's on his timeline. Okay, but I think it's important to talk about. This is not from him. It's from Raful Ticket. He says, these fucks are so anti-Semitic. I'm the one who made the list on who can see Habibi. And they try and spin this as Frogan ranking people from Arab to Jew. Keep Jews out of your fucking mouth. I don't give a shit if your black friend said that you could say the N-word. I don't care. That doesn't make it less racist. You understand that. You get that. You understand. But when it comes to Jews, you have a brain fart. I don't know. You just forget. You throw it all away, right? Your principles, everything you claim to uphold, everything you claim to believe, you shit it out because you hate Jews. I don't care if you're Jewish. That's just true. I don't check your ethnicity, right, to see if what you're saying is racist or not. No. You're either saying something racist or you're not. Okay? If you put together an Arab to Jew tier list, I'm going to call it out. And just because you happen to be Jewish doesn't make it okay. Why would it ever? If I brought my black friend on, right, and he said I could say, I could make a tier list that had whites at top and loves fried chicken and loves watermelon at the bottom, and my black friend said it was okay, you'd be okay with that? No, you wouldn't. We know you wouldn't. Everyone understands you wouldn't. We get that, right? How many... Gang, I'm angry. This kind of shit makes me angry. It makes me angry. It makes me angry. Am I the only one that's fucking angry at this? Am I the only one upset at this? Does no one else give a shit? Think racial humor is okay? Look, yo, here. I would have a much different reaction if they were like, yeah, we were being anti-Semitic, but it's funny. Oh, I mean, you can take what you want, right? And maybe to you it would be funny. I don't find it particularly funny, but if you find it funny, okay, right? But you don't do this song and dance like you pretend it's not what it is, right? I'd have a bit of a different reaction. It'd still be kind of gross, but it wouldn't be like anger making. Does that make sense? I wouldn't like be as upset because they're like, okay, well, they understand what they're doing. And they're not trying to hide it. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of gross, but the issue is that they understand and consider it wrong with any other group. With any other group. With blacks, with Mexicans, with Palestinians, with Muslims in general, Arabs, right? They get why it would be wrong. They would call it wrong. They would say it's wrong. But when it comes to Jews, it's okay because Jews aren't people in their eyes. Not really. Oh, I clicked on this. Hold on. Let me go back to looking. I'm trying to find if he's made a comment on Asmongold. I wish it... Oh. It didn't take long. It didn't take long. Here, let's see if I could probably find a better one. Oh, God, this is just... It's funny. At this point, it's funny. Same motherfucker. This is the same motherfucker from earlier who was like, oh, it's okay to make an Arab Jew tier list. It's not that bad. It's all right. It's all good. It's just jokes. It's just humor, bro. It's just humor. You want me to read this? Same dude. It looks like Asmongold was banned on his Zach Rar. Good on Twitch for doing the right thing. We can't allow bigotry to be normalized. We can't allow Shut the front door, okay? Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Stop talking. This is why I'm mad. This is why I'm upset. They understand that they... Oh my God. What more? We see this, right? We see this? This is him. Okay? On Asmongold. This is him on Arabs to Jews. Okay? The double standard. It couldn't be more clear. It couldn't be more clear. The double standard. Okay? The hypocrisy on full display. It's insane. It makes me feel like I'm going insane because they pretend it's not the same thing, right? This isn't the same thing. It's the same thing. It's a one-to-one. Bro, Asmongold made his own little statement about how he didn't care, right? Because this culture was ranked lower in his tier list than the other cultures, okay? And then you go and make a tier list about Arabs being good and Jews being bad, and you think, oh, it's just jokes, bro. Haha, why are you getting so upset? Come on. Come on! These people. These people. What are your thoughts, gang? Yeah, I have a weird voice. Sorry, Kisser Henderson. Kisser? I don't know. He says it sounds like this is sarcastic outrage because of Wick's voice, but he is very upset. I am very upset. Yes. I am very upset. Do you know? Okay, maybe this will help you understand why I'm upset too. Okay. Let's see if we can get this back up. I want you to look at Ethan's face, okay, throughout this. We can turn the sound off, just look at it, just watch his face, okay? Just watch his face throughout, okay? Yeah, we don't care. Like, let's just go to his face. This dude is upset. He's hurting. Do you guys know Ethan used to be in that group, right? He used to be friends with a lot of them. A lot of these people who are now mocking him for being Jewish, okay? He's not even pro-Israeli either, to be clear. He was calling out Israel. He was calling out Netanyahu way before October 7th. Okay. He was pretty pro-Palestine. He still is. He's pretty anti-Israel. He just doesn't think it should be wiped off the map. And for that sin, they've decided to dehumanize and deperson him, okay? And that, I guess maybe it's just my empathy at play here, because I put myself in his position, right, in his shoes. My friends or people who I thought I were friends just switching on me like that as soon as I was no longer a useful Jew. As soon as I was no longer a useful Jew to these people, or Ethan wasn't a useful Jew to these people, they turned on him. And that's gotta hurt. Ethan really believed that these people were his friends. Ethan really believed that these people actually cared about what he had to say. These people really believed, Ethan really believed, that these people meant what they said. And to learn in such a direct fashion that the people you thought were your friends didn't give a shit about you and actually thought that you and your family should probably not exist. Whew, boy. Ellen Degenerate says, please answer my question about what happens after Hassan and Twitch poll are no longer the big anti-Zionist content creators who will pick up that slack. What do you mean? Like, do you think it's just them? They're the biggest. They're the loudest. But there's hundreds of these little people, right? Running around. Hundreds. I don't know what you're talking about. Doobie says, the way we identify anti-Semitism shouldn't be, is a Jewish person upset? True. Nor should it be a Jewish person's okay with it. You're right. But we can look at a tier list that says, here, let me get up the tier list for you so you can see it. Okay? So you can see the tier list. Hold on. Oh, can we read it there? Yeah, I think we can. Right? Oh, no, you guys can't. Let me move it over. Hold on, so you can see the tier list here. I wanna zoom in on this tier list. Can I zoom in on this tier list? I probably can. I'm probably messing it up for later, but that's okay. This is important. Yes, I am very comfortable calling a tier list which has Arab at the top, the good, and then loves Sabra. Sabra being slang for Jew born in Israel. Also for hummus that Israelis tend to like. That's Jewish. That means Jew. We would understand this if the top of this was whites and the bottom of this was loves fried chicken and watermelon. We would understand what's being referred to here, right? Likewise, we can understand that this, starting off with ethnicity, right? Ethnicity, kind of middle thing. It's all related to ethnicity. That's the through line here. So we get why this means Jews. Okay? So, it's not the fact that Ethan's upset that makes it anti-Semitic. It's the fact that they rated a tier list where the top is Arabs and the bottom are Jews. The bad is the Jewish people, or Jewish people lovers, if you want to give them some charity. We understand why that's anti-Semitic. We get it. Is this a hard concept? Ellen Degenerate says, this is such a stretch. It's cringe, but they're playing on how fake Middle Eastern people love Sabra. Saying you love Papa John's as an Italian gives you similar ire. That's not what they're saying. Why are we running defense for this? What was the actual panel? It was a tier list. Like, do we need to watch it again? Right? They ranked different people. Hamas, or I'm sorry, not Hamas. Hassan was ranked as Arab. Ethan Klein was ranked as Jew, right? We watched it earlier. Ask perms, as in ask permissions, I'm assuming, right? Like, you got to ask for perms because we don't know if you're Arab or not. That's an assumption. Counselor Guy says Hassan is a Turk, though, not an Arab. Well, they have Arab coded right below it, but they decided to promote him to be an Arab for the stream. That's their ranking, not mine. I would be banned so fast if I did a tier list like this with whites at the top and loves fried chicken, loves watermelon at the bottom, with not invited to the cookout being right above, right below whites, or maybe above. Like, I don't know, right? Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of the middle things that would be. But we understand, right, that this was anti-Semitic. Doobie, are you serious? Okay, I will bet you $100 that they're being anti-Semitic. That everyone understands. You have this blind spot when it comes to this stuff. You just defend this stuff. They unbanned Sneeko. They unbanned, Fresh and Fit. Very anti-Semitic people, right? They don't care about anti-Semitism on their platform. And in fact, they will ban other forms of prejudice. They will ban other forms of discrimination, but they won't ban anti-Semitism. They invite it back. It's not a wild accusation, Doobie. Do you think this is a wild accusation? This is why I say that I think that you guys are like, just make trolling. You're just trolling. You have to be. You're not stupid. You understand. You get it. Why it would be anti-Semitic to do this. You get it. At least I hope you do. At least I hope you do. And they get it too. We just saw, again. Oh, oops. Yeah, let me adjust the. I'm gonna have to do it live. Oops, no, wrong one. Yeah, we just saw Capri Sun here and his take on the panel versus his take on Asmongold's comments, right? His take on the panel, we actually put Love Sabra on the list because I wanted to remind the panel of the time my father's people massacred my mother's people in Sabra and Shatila. It has nothing to do with store-bought hummus. It has to do with this very real, deeper meaning. No, stop it, right? And then we go through his account, right? And we get to his opinion on Asmongold. Here, I'll get there. In Asmongold's comments, in Asmongold being banned, says it looks like Asmongold was banned on a Zachrar good on Twitch for doing the right thing. We can't allow bigotry to be normalized. That tier list was far more bigoted than what Asmongold said. Asmongold said wasn't good. It was wrong. It was also kind of bigoted. But that tier list was far, far worse. Far, far worse. And I'll die on that hill because it's just true. It's just true. Yes, Doobie, saying I don't care about bad things happening to someone is less bad than saying, ha ha, your racial ethnicity here, right? You're Jewish, right? That's Nick Fuentes level shit. Jogurt says, you can probably find stuff outside the tier list that demonstrates a more clear anti-Semitic view, but your claim that the tier list itself is anti-Semitic needs to be substantiated. If you are not convinced yet, again, simply put in any other ethnicity for this. Any other ethnicity. If you aren't convinced by that, I mean, at this point, let he who has ears hear, let he who has eyes see. You can lead a horse to water. Can't make him drink. And I'm sorry, that sucks. But you're just purposely not seeing it at that point. Don't know what to tell you. Very clear. Very, very clear. Okay, I had some other things to show you guys too. Okay, we're gonna watch something else. It's not quite related, but it's also something I want to talk about because it's crazy. Okay. This was on the Majority Report. Emma Vigeland, I think is her name. I'm pretty sure that's her name. Is that how you say her name? I might get these things wrong. I might mispronounce it. Forgive me if I do, okay? Forgive me if I do. But let's look. Give me a second. Let me move it so we see the video. Okay. Turn the volume up. Let's watch. Let's see what the whitest girl you know has to say. Okay.
Groups like Hezbollah and Houthis and his reaction to Zionism. I mean, I don't know what he said, but I really don't care. To be honest, I find the like safe, cozy, rich white people in America picking apart the ideology.
That's you. That's you. Rich, white, cozy people in America? That's you. You talking to yourself? What's going on? You got a mirror you're looking into? That's you. Anyway.
Of resistance groups.
Yep.
There's nothing to me that makes me want to like scream more. It's the height of privilege, and it's just such Western chauvinism.
because people criticize the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. That's their Western chauvinism? Excuse me?
So I support Hassan 100%. I think it's great that he had that Houthi kid on back in the day. And we should be understanding more why Houthis, Hezbollah, all of these folks are resisting.
Yeah, because they hate the Jews.
Yes,
and honestly,
you don't have look. They tell you why It's on their flag in the case of the Houthis. It's in their charter in the case of Hamas. Death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews. That's in the Houthi flag. It's not a mystery. We don't have to crack the code. They tell us. Why are you resisting? Because we hate the Jews. It's clear.
I'm like, that's what Klein is like. What he was saying there too, Ezra Klein, like this just like reflexive characterization of Palestinians or Arabs as just savages is disgusting, and it's widespread and shared on the Democratic and Republican side. And liberal Zionists are going to have to confront their own racism. They're unwilling to.
Hold up. No. Palestinians are victims of Hamas. A lot of the Yemeni people are victims of Hezbollah. Or I'm sorry, Houthis. My bad. The Lebanese. A lot of them are victims of Hezbollah. No, it's not these people, right? Like, it's not their ethnicity. It's these specific ideological groups.
You saw that in the Ezra Klein clip. But these are resistance groups. And picking apart what they believe, I mean, it's just, it's...
As if it hasn't been massively influenced by the colonial,
yes.
divide and conquer
propped
strategy.
up religious fundamentalist groups in the region for that very reason, so it could make it easier for people. And look, I love Bullprog. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on you, but it's just like... But
this is frustrating. And,
I disagree with the criticism of Hassan very strongly on this.
And the smearing of people.
This is the widest, privileged take I've ever heard. You got, okay, yesterday, was it yesterday? No, Thursday, I'm sorry, when Sinwar died. I think it was was it Thursday he died or was it Wednesday? I'm getting my days mixed up. I think it was Thursday. I'm gonna go with Thursday. So Thursday, Sinwar died, and Palestinians who lived in Palestine spoke to the New York Times, and they said, hey, Americans, I want you to know that we are not this war-hungry people, right? We want peace. We think Sinwar was a piece of shit. We're glad he's dead. Just know that it wasn't us. It wasn't us. It was Hamas. It was Sinwar. We want peace. We're normal people. And 1,000 red triangles commented, ha ha ha, nice try, Shlomo. We know a Palestinian would never say anything like that. Ha ha ha. And these people on their white ass show, okay, in their cozy little podcasts, saying, ha ha ha, I know what Palestinians would say, and Palestinians would never say that. Ha ha, oh my God. That's crazy. That's chauvinistic, and that's the most privileged take I've ever heard in my life. So, Emma Vigland, if that is your real name, okay, I don't know. You can go eat shit. I don't care what some white woman has to say on this topic, honestly. If you're going to use that racial card, then we're going to play by your rules. Man, Jesus Christ.
On this front, as terrorist sympathetic as opposed to just fucking mature. I'm sorry, I love Bullpuck too, but like this sort of thing that's going around, especially when fucking supporters of Israel want to talk about policing other people's ideology, nah, fuck off.
Again, I don't care what you have to say. If you call Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas resistance groups, these people kill children. They rape women on purpose as a matter of course. That's their target. Israel does bad shit. They don't care, right? They do a lot of collateral damage that they shouldn't do. But that is less bad than someone who actively targets civilians. Why don't we understand this? And if you're saying that I can't critique that kind of resistance, you're mad. You're insane. You are not worth listening to. I don't care. I don't care what you have to say. No one should. No one should give a no one should no one should care what you have to say because you've revealed that your moral clock is broken. You have no way of discerning right from wrong, and you have bought in to this oppressor-oppressed dynamics that is leading you to cheering on someone who, again, okay, hold on 1 second. Do you know why? Okay, hold on. Let me see the exact term they're using. I want to get the exact name right. Do you know why or how Sinwar earned the name the Butcher from Khan Yunis? Do you know why they call him the Butcher of Khan Yunis? Is because of all the Palestinians he butchered. The men, the women, the children. They're Palestinians, so you should care about them, unlike the Jews, who you don't care about for whatever reason. He killed them. He tortured them. He, from his jail cell, when he spent time in jail, ordered the killing of his sister. Because his sister had an affair, reportedly. This man that you're propping up, that you're saying that we can't criticize, is a butcher of Palestinians. The IDF prays that they could get as good at killing Palestinians as Sinwar was. I don't understand, right? I don't get it. I legitimately don't get it. Yeah, Palestinians hate this guy because he killed a ton of them. He killed a ton of them. But there are people in my chat right now, Doobie, Ellen, a few others, right? Running cover for this obvious anti-Semitism. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. If you don't see the Arab to Jew tier list as anti-Semitic, I can't help you at this point. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can tell you, right? Like, it's just fairly clear. Oh, I debated whether I wanted to go live tonight or not. I thought about it this morning, right? I was like, man, there's a lot I want to talk about, but I know once I get my stuff out, once I get my spiel out, that'll be it. And I don't usually rant for hours and hours and hours, so I'd probably only do it for like an hour or something, right? And we talk, and I would give you my evidence and things like that, and you'd be like, oh, either believe it or not, and that's up to you, right? We got people on Twitch sharing literal terrorist propaganda, having Houthis on, praising those Houthis. Oh my God, he's just like Luffy. He's just like a One Piece guy, okay? Yeah, people running cover for this, saying, oh, that's not really anti-Semitic. Yeah, yes, it is. We know it is. We understand that it is, right? Like, and I think they understand. Right, we got people in Hassan's chat, and I'll pull this up. I'll let you guys see some of it, right? Let me pull it so you can see. Sinwar, my king, he died for Palestine and is a martyr and a hero, right? He's a hero. America and Israel are the terrorists. Dude looks like a total badass, to be honest. Death makes him look like a hero to some. They had to shoot him with a tank twice. He died a martyr. Salute, rest in peace, Yahya Sinwar. These people are insane. They're insane. Sinwar killed and butchered Palestinian people, anyone who was in his way. He killed and butchered Israelis. Any you could get his hands on. Men, women, and children. He killed and butchered without remorse. If you think that that man is your hero, you are evil. And I don't use that word lightly. You are evil. We get that, right? Was Sinwar the Houthi kid? No, Sinwar was the leader of Hamas. The Houthi kid, I don't know his name. I'll probably find it out. You can't cover up for Hamas's doing bad by saying Israel also does bad. You can't. Much like you can't cover up for Israel doing bad just by saying the other people do bad. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to look. They've sinned, so I can sin too is a shit argument. Doobie, he did not look like the dude from Dude. He looked like that guy and his wife who were throwing bottles at drones. See if I can find the picture for you. I'll tell you what this guy looked like. I'll show you what this guy looked like. See if I can see it. I tweet too much. It's true. I tweet far too much. I'll get there. It's getting closer. Getting closer. I hope I didn't pass it accidentally. Nope, I don't. Ah, here they are. Here's what this guy looked like. This is the guy that Sinwar looked like at the end. Okay. A hero. A hero to millions, right? Throwing ineffectual objects at this drone. Like, come on. He looked like a joke. He tried to hide till the very last minute. Oh, and they found him. And so imagine getting killed by a femboy, okay? A 19-year-old femboy takes you out and laughs at you while doing so. It's funny. It's funny. I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh. No one thinks he looks like a badass unless you've been huffing the paint. Unless your brain is severely broken. No one thought that was heroic. Except for, again, if your brain is severely broken, right? That's not moving the needle. Right? You say this about every time Israel kills one of these crazy people. Nasrallah dead. Oh, you did it now. Israel's surely gonna pay. Right? Oh, they'll rise up. The resistance gonna rise up. No. They're gonna get the same treatment. Insane. Crazy. I feel like I've been taking crazy pills. I feel like, gang, that I'm just unable.
Sentiment, but hey, what's going on? Can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, sorry, just changing my scene. Tuna Chip, what's up, brother?
Hey, how we doing?
Hold on, Doobie. Where have I lied? You point out a lie. Like Doobie keeps on doing this thing where he just makes shit up, okay, unsubstantiated, and he's like, "Oh, everyone's gonna think that Sinwar looked like a badass." No one thinks that. No one's serious, right?
Everyone's
Oh,
gonna think
the
that.
tier list
Think
wasn't anti-Semitic. Here, I'll ask you that tier list. Did you watch the tier list that Frogan put together?
I mean, I saw you watching it. I didn't watch it in depth. My understanding is that they were doing some form of live show with multiple people on Twitch. She decided to make the kind of joke that usually flies, this idea of like who's a real one, who's not a real one, but then like the framing and the phrasing was basically saying like Jews bad, Arabs good, and as opposed to like one of these things where it's like, are you a good Arab? Are you a bad Arab? It's like a weird choice to make it so that the opposite of Arab is Jew, as opposed to the opposite of Arab is like what, secular or sinful.
First of all, making an ethnicity tier list is weird. Okay, it's
You
fraught.
never done that?
I've never made an ethnicity tier list.
I'm joking with you. I know that most people wouldn't.
I wouldn't even think about it, right? Like I've never even considered. I'm being real with you. I never considered that people would do that.
Well,
but I mean, like, unless you were talking like Nick Fuentes types, right?
It's not
I could
like
see
a
Nick
person,
Fuentes doing it, right?
It's a bit different than maybe how you make it sound there, where it is introducing the Arab versus Jew thing is what turns it into a one ethnicity versus another ethnicity. But there, people have always been like, are you a real black guy, or are you like are you an Oreo, right? People say shit like that about Obama all the time. And that has been like a joke that's normal and in vogue, but it's the introduction
still kind
of
of racist, though, right? Like saying that you're not really a black person to a black person,
yeah, but
isn't exactly not racist.
I mean, it just depends on what you're. You know as well as I do that people will make jokes. They'll be like, Mexicans can say that it's not a real Mexican restaurant if it doesn't sell Coca-Cola. And, or, that the tacos are going to hit if they've got Goku on the wall. It's just like shit like that, where they're trying to say like, oh, I know that your mom probably doesn't cook because you eat sabra, you fucking fake Muslim. Like, that's the kind of shit they're going for. They're like, oh, you're uncultured. But to then bring up the Kleins, who are not Arabs, there's no reason for them to be brought up in the thing is to basically say like, if you're not a good Arab, you're basically a Jew. And what does that mean?
Look, sabra isn't just a hummus. We understand this, right? Sabra also is a slang term for a Jew who's born in Israel.
Say that it seems like it's meant to be a dog whistle or something like that. It's coded language or something.
Yeah.
I don't think
obviously coded.
You think that it's undeniable?
I think it is. I think that given all the context, again, as you said, where you had Ethan Klein being rated like this, the fact that it is this double entendre, where it's a hummus brand, but also a term for Jews who are born in Israel, you can't. It beggars belief. I cannot suspend my disbelief that much to think that wasn't on purpose.
I find it to be right on the line inside of and I agree that many people ride lines in order to get away with it. But I just don't see her as, she doesn't seem smart. She seems like a person who fires from the hip, says stupid shit all the time. For her to be like, suddenly she's a mastermind who came up with a like,
it's
you
not
need to
even
have
a mastermind
she's the person
thing.
That said like, if you're a veteran, I hope you got PTSD. Like, she's not good at politics. Why would she suddenly be good at politics? Good at being sneaky.
This is why she didn't do something sneaky. She did something blatant and thought she was being sneaky. She thought that this would give her cover. She thought she could be like, oh, I just meant the hummus. Ha ha ha. But she's dumb. She's stupid. And she didn't understand that anyone with a brain can see through that stuff. $10 from Lesson Cell to say people in the Middle East follow Sinwar because if they don't, they get killed. People in the West follow Sinwar because they think he's based and a hero. How gullible is our society today that it's scary and funny all at once? And yes, I've been laughing throughout this because it's so out there and so ridiculous.
I mean, I would move past that question because I think that when people talk about the dog whistle shit, they're basically saying they're giving themselves an open invitation to smoke crack and be schizophrenic. I would say when you're thinking about a political discussion, it makes a lot more sense to say when a platform should punish creators for riding the line too close to places where other people have had like a hair trigger ban. I get that. I agree with that part. It's like, why do people feel emboldened? And why is it that the closer you are to the aristocracy that you're able to say whatever you want, say sorry later.
But they're not able to say everything they want. They're not. Asmongold is Twitch aristocracy. We understand that.
No, I don't mean just plain old Twitch aristocracy. I mean very specifically.
Oh, he's not a friend of Hassan.
That's Twitch
okay.
Politics.
Okay, fair enough.
Aristocracy,
right? Fair enough.
Like Asmongold has gotten on the bad side of the political interior of
Gotcha.
Twitch.
You're talking about like the royalty
is left.
Yeah. I get you.
Aristocracy, royalty, whatever the word you want to distinguish.
We're not talking past each other anymore. I understand. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So when you're Denims or Hassan or anybody that has an article written about them saying like this person's really cool because they're making Twitch into a political space, when it's able to make Twitch look good and like a place that won't die because it, after COVID, people stopped watching gaming content and now they only want to watch the news on the internet. It's like an alternative news platform. That's what they're trying to turn it into. They want it to be the place that is the left alternative news place. So of course they're going to give fine grace to people who are like saying crazy shit because they're like, well,
do you think
we'll just ban some titty streamers and make them feel better?
Do you think if one of these aristocracy people, right, had made a tier list with white people on top and loves fried chicken and loves watermelon on the bottom, that they wouldn't have been banned? I think they would be banned
for obvious reasons. I just told you the reason that you're able to make jokes and play and ride the line is because the line that you're riding looks good for Twitch because it's subversive in a direction that the politics of the people that run the platform and the people they want to attract to the platform.
Anti-Semites.
Not just anti-Semites, but like anti-Semitism is the edgy vice of the left. It is also the edgy vice of the right, but that's the thing. There are millions of edgy vices on the right, and they have their own platforms and they love being on them. What I'm saying is, as long as you code it in a way where you're saying, well, the reason I hate white people, Jews, Asians, under certain contexts is that they are imperialists or they are capitalists, something like that. The whole point is that they are trying to pave a new direction for the platform towards being like the safe haven for left political thought, including meaning that they want the people that are able to attract thousands of people to watch politics on a gaming website. They're going to let them be a little bit too close to the line.
But
they're not going to do the same with people that might corrupt that mission.
How do you square the circle, right, for me? Because if that's the reason, because they want to showcase leftist kind of thought that's edgy, etc., and anti-Semitism is just kind of the after effect, if you will, then why let Sneeko back on? Sneeko's not left. Why let Fresh and Fit back on?
Numbers, bro. That's what it is. Numbers. They're in competition with Kick. They are literally just trying to get young audiences. I would call that multiple eggs, multiple baskets. And it's just, it happens to be I know that you're going to disagree with me, but I do think that it is that a lot of people who have a lot of money and a lot of pull are able to make the joke of the moment because young people are anti-Israel, and that translates to being anti-Semitic when you try to make a racialized joke.
So you
which
think
is
that they are
the flavor
making
of the moment.
you're making the you think the argument you're making, if I understand it, you can tell me if I'm wrong here.
I'm saying that they're not they don't hate Jews
they just think it's
because
profitable
they hate Jews. I'm
to make
saying that
Jews.
they love money, and
And
the
they
best
think
way to make money right now is to be
is-
soft on people saying bad shit about Jews. That's just what the politics has changed into.
I could maybe see this as an argument that they think they've decided that they will make more money letting people be anti-Semitic than they would by banning them.
Yeah, as long as the content isn't just quote about anti-Semitism, because then you could write an article that looks bad. If it's just like slaps on the wrist, don't say anti-Semitic things again, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But one person says, say, rioters need to get like ran over or shot, and then that gets like, well, we're gonna get rid of that person forever. I know, but keep in mind that is what the news story turned into. That is how people wrote about Destiny. Not even necessarily what he said, but that's how they wrote about it. If you can frame it that way, but you're not able to frame
Yes, because Jews are treated differently. I agree with you. You're not able to frame comments against Jews in the same way is because Jews aren't seen as people by these people in the same way that black people are, or Mexicans, or Palestinians are. So yes, you're correct in that.
In the fact that the mainstream media has spent a lot more time humanizing black people and Mexicans to Americans by showing them the victimization and not like just showing tons and tons of stories about Jews getting victimized. Yeah, it has changed the public's perception about who is a victim human, who needs protection, who needs assistance, versus who ought stand on their own 2 feet, who has only, because that, I think most people would say, and I'm not saying most people to say that they're reasonable, but I'm saying that the reason there's a difference is that they would say Jews are facing an extra pushback, but not an amount of pushback that they need special protections for. They wouldn't say the same thing about black people in America. That's the difference. That's the political perception. They're saying both are getting pushback, but black people are getting enough pushback that the government needs to step in. Jews are not.
Yeah, I think that worldview.
That's constructed by the media.
I get
by
you.
What stories are expedient.
I understand that, and I understand that's your argument. I think you may have a point, but my argument would be that worldview, that ways of thinking, is in and of itself informed by anti-Semitism, right? It is because of anti-Semitism that they view these things this way.
Sure, but then you have to answer the question of, is Twitch anti-Semitic, or
yes,
is Twitch financially interested inside of an anti-Semitic market?
Also, yes. Both.
I think that the second is much more likely than the first.
I think it's both. I think that the people who run Twitch, at least, because when we say Twitch, we're talking about Dan Clancy. We're talking about the people who run the safety team. I'm not talking about the rank and file, but the people who are in charge, right, of making these decisions. I think that they are anti-Semitic. Yes.
What is the thing that makes you think that the people running Twitch are anti-Semitic rather than the people running Twitch are following the incentives in the market? What is the thing that makes you see the difference? Is it just a hunch?
It might be a simple optimism on my part to think that anti-Semitism isn't lucrative to advertisers. I think that advertisers would be turned off, and maybe I'm wrong, I hope I'm not, but it's very possible I am, that advertisers seeing their ads played next to a clip of the Jew or the Arab to Jew tier list would have a problem with that and not want to be associated with that. So they would leave. So I, again, think that they are putting their ideology over their financial interest. I could be wrong,
I think that
But
you might end up being wrong.
that's my read. Okay.
So Amazon probably is right to see Twitch as a loss leader, and that Twitch is mainly a platform that allows them to continue building out the video service for AWS. So whatever keeps viewers on, whatever allows them to build out the infrastructure, test features, work on the I think that the real product behind Twitch is not actually the content. It is not the ads that are being served to people nearly as much as it is building this machine that they then rent a Kick, rent to any new platform that might take on the mantle, and then they're basically saying, listen, content is always going to be way too hard to manage. There are too many people saying too many things. Bots aren't good at it. YouTube's in a bunch of shit because the bots are too strict. You can just mass report people into the grave. And we can try and be just that hard, but we have to do it in response to news stories, because otherwise we're just the platform that bans everybody. So what do? They want hot girls shaking their ass to get slapped on the wrist, but then to get back. They want people that get big pull to get a slap in the wrist when they say something that flags everybody's, anti-Semitism radar, they get a slap on the wrist and then get back in there. They don't want somebody like Destiny who is explicitly going out of his way with a grandfather contract where he makes way more money, and a platform like DGG where he's pulling people off platform. Like, there are a lot of reasons.
Hold on. Can you point to a time that Frogan, Hassan, any of these aristocracy people have received even a slap on the wrist for their anti-Semitism?
Has Frogan never received a ban? I'm pretty sure that Frogan has received a ban before, although they're always short.
Can you tell me why?
Well, no, because they don't tell you why when they do it.
I mean, but there's always this. We can usually figure it out, right? Or at least from context clues, have pretty good guesses.
I mean, I can pull up.
Has she even ever received a ban?
What people's colloquial is, but I haven't paid enough attention to her for ages or something nearly as much.
Well, no one has, to be clear. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fair. Does Frogan have any previous bans? So, Frogan, does she have any previous bans?
I know Hassan got banned for calling someone a cracker. Okay.
Yep, that's the most obvious one for him. With her, I don't know what it is. For him, that was his most famous one.
Yeah, which wasn't anything to do with anti-Semitism.
Sure. What? We're not talking about the... Okay, so
yes,
yeah.
we are. I'm asking you. My question is, can you point to a time when any of these aristocracies, because your whole thing is that they will just give a slap on the wrist when it pings their anti-Semitism radar, and they'll let them back in. They won't take it seriously. They'll just kind of...
I mean, I think that the main thing that happened, the main controversy, I don't know what... Does anybody know whether or not Frogan got in trouble for saying that Ludwig's donation was cracker shit? Or Ludwig's thing of saying, I'll give a donation, but I won't tell my audience to do it. I'll donate to Palestine, but I won't tell my audience to do it.
We're talking a suspension, a ban, even a warning from Twitch, right?
Because that would be the main thing I can remember where I'm like,
I don't think she did.
I'm checking here. Most people are saying no. And maybe she didn't. I like...
Yes, because again, they're okay with anti-Semitism. They won't even give you a slap on the wrist.
I'm not even claiming that they're not. I'm not trying. What would happen if a person went live, got 10,000 viewers? Like, so the Kanye West, Nick Fuentes, or Kanye wasn't at it. It was the Nick Fuentes, Nazi-esque speech where he was like directly declaring war on every Jew or something. That is a little too explicit, and I think that they would ban that because it's so unable to be like twisted by the media. But they will let the Yemeni pirate story interview thing be way too softball, because at least that can be spun as journalism. It's really about can you
Hold
make
up.
a counter argument?
They let Fresh and Fit back on, who said on October 11th, don't call them Zionists, don't call them all these things, don't call them the Zog or whatever. Just say Jews.
Did they say that while they were live on Twitch, or did they just say that
They
in the
said
past?
it in. I don't think they were live on Twitch at the time. That's true, but I
Because I don't think that platforms care about whether or not you're a good person or a bad person. They care about whether or not they can trust you with their services to not fuck with them.
Khan has shown Houthi music videos, right? Or Hezbollah music videos. Like literal terrorist propaganda on stream.
No denial.
They let that go. If I were to show, right, and that's directly against their TOS. You can't do that. That is not allowed according to TOS, not even in a negative context. Even if I brought up
We're not okay.
Al-Qaeda
Let me
promotion
We're not
video.
fighting. We're not fighting about the facts of the matter. I'm saying that there are reasons to let people break the rules that like, okay, how about this? Just as a simple analogy, because this is what it was. Everybody speeds on the highway. Everybody speeds on the highway. Everybody knows when you get pulled over, the cop says, "Do you know how fast you were going?" You can either you're supposed to say, "I don't know." They tell you, and then you have to put on your like, "Oh my God, I was speeding on the highway. Oh no." That's how I see most rules on most platforms. They exist to be able to pull you over when they make the choice about the actual limit behind the scenes. They exist like a little thing that you look at, and it's supposed to guide people in the right direction. But obviously, they get to apply their rules however they want, which means that there are little secrets, an algorithm that exists in the souls of the people enforcing the rules, and your job is to read it. Now, if you think that them disproportionately doing it is like structurally anti-Semitic or something, you can make that argument, but I would say, is it unique to their platform? No, it is not unique to their platform. That's what is very distinct. It is unique to this moment in politics and the way that the market around that is now exists.
Problem
it's just what it is.
Becomes is that Twitch has one of, if not the most arbitrary and strict moderating practices of any platform I know. So we're talking YouTube, Rumble, Kick, TikTok, all these, right? Twitch has famously been the most restrictive. Also arbitrary, right? So this is a problem that extends beyond this. But I think that it does say something about the people who are in charge of enforcing the standards that they do, that they will refuse to enforce. And as I've said, I've seen no evidence that they've enforced it on anyone, let alone the Twitch aristocracy, of you being anti-Semitic. You just don't get flagged. And I think that does inform us of something and tell us something about the people who are in charge. They are either anti-Semitic or okay with anti-Semitism. One of the two. Both are bad. And I lean towards the first due to just other context clues about the ideologies of these people, right?
I mean, I think that there is a lack of principle behind the decisions. Total agreement. I think that clearly...
No, it's not a lack of principle. The principle is...
do you think that their principle is specifically...
Because I think that they're going to end up losing money overall.
The worse thing that you say about Jews, the better. No, I think that
hold on,
their bottom line is their principle.
No, it's not, because I would venture. Again, I'm almost certain that this is the case, and if it's not the case, we're in a bigger problem than I think. That allowing anti-Semitism on their channels, is going to hurt their bottom line. So you would think if that was their guiding principle, if that was their ideology, just to make as much money as possible, that they would tamp down on this because they understand that advertisers are just going to flee the platform if they allow this to happen.
That's the important thing. I think the reason that they banned Destiny is because they believed. I wouldn't be shocked if there were behind the scene conversations with people saying that if you don't do that, we've been given an offer, we'll go to another platform. I would not be shocked if he was a bigger thorn in their ass from having a grandfathered contract that allows him to multi-stream on his own website that pulls people off of it, if that wasn't an actual, real, necessary part of their decision. When you say, how close can Hassan get to the line before we have to take him in and spank him on the butt? You're looking at the advertisers. You're looking at him. He's getting closer and closer to the line. You're looking at the advertisers. They don't pull out. So then you have to say, well, wait a second. The advertisers are just okay with it. They're just okay with it. They're not pulling out. The money on advertising on Twitch is not nearly as important to them as building the platform out. So if they lose, like, I don't buy it. I think that when you have Aiden Ross banned, when you have Destiny banned, the reason that these people are banned and
hold on, is Aiden Ross still banned?
He's still banned. He's not unbanned.
Well, they've unbanned Sneeko, they've unbanned Frisch and Fit. So
okay, but what is Aiden Ross? Aiden Ross is
right?
What is Aiden Ross? An essential part of the Kick infrastructure. He's a business competition asset, right? You can't just this is what I'm saying. When you look at the people that get unbanned and don't get unbanned, it seems so obviously to be about what is the business interest, not what is the principle. I agree on the unprincipled. It is what is the business interest. And the business interest, the market, it is instructing people, let people say some fucking weird shit that they're going to regret in the future about Jews, because right now the young people that watch the show, they're like, whoa, oh my God, this is the edginess we're allowed to like watch and not feel guilty about because of the war. But as soon as that ends, as soon as the political conversation
again,
changes,
I think that's anti-Semitic when you allow a whole group of people even for your bottom line, even if I agreed with your take here, and I don't, to be clear, I think that advertisers, if they knew what was happening at Twitch right now, they would flee, right? I think that they would.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out because people are doing the tags and they're saying
right.
Frogan did this, and I will not be surprised in the slightest. I will not be surprised in the slightest if nothing happens.
Yes, and that nothing happens. Like when you say nothing happens, do you mean that
I mean nobody
sponsors
pulls out? No advertisers pull out. Nobody cares.
Maybe we will find out.
It's my same thought when I talked about the flood. When people are like,
because you're right, I don't think anyone's going to get banned for this.
Kamala for the flood, and I'm like, well, it's not that. It's not just that the Democratic Party doesn't care. It's that nobody cares. The news doesn't care, not nearly as much as the war in Gaza, not nearly as much as there are only so many things that the market can care about
disagree.
Before they have nowhere to advertise.
I don't think even if that's the case, right? And they're willing to let the Jews take a hit on this one because it's a safe edgy, that it would be if they let the black people take the hit and allowed only black racism and no other group for you to be racist against. We could tell everyone and be honest by saying that's anti-black. Right? That's racist against black people. In the same vein, allowing the Jewish people to take the hit just because it doesn't affect their bottom line, that is anti-Semitic, and it makes them anti-Semitic. Yes. But again, I think that
if the money changes, they change with it. I'm saying they're unprincipled.
Their money is changing. I think that the Twitch is making less now than it ever has before. And I think they don't care because they don't value the bottom line as much as they do their ideologies. And part of their ideologies is they don't see Jews as human.
Let's see what happens. If advertisers pull out, let's see whether or not Twitch changes its policy, and that will answer the disagreement on its own. So history will prove one of us right and one of us wrong, so we'll see. All I would say is, in the same way that when people on the right see a remake of the Little Mermaid with a black girl, and then everybody on the right freaks out, in the same way that happens there, and they're saying, oh, they're trying to erase our culture, they're trying to steal things from us. The same feeling that you get there when you're like, this person's being hysterical. It's literally just that black people have money and kids and want to bring them to the theater, and this is what the business thought would open up their historically white market to have more black viewers. I would say the same thing where with Twitch, where I'd say Twitch is losing gamers, losing people that want to watch games because it's easier to watch it on YouTube. YouTube doesn't force ads on people. And then they're saying, wait a second, the people that seem to stick around are the ones that are coming here day after day to watch the news, to watch people's takes on the news, watch them debate and disagree. We need to start moving in the direction of who the most committed viewers are. And if that means you have to let people be edgier, if that means that you have, and
Which
if the
is actually
advertisers
doing
don't
better.
fucking
No,
screw
this
with
is
people for
something
it,
that we
they're
could
gonna
actually
do it.
measure. Do we think that Twitch's political side is outperforming their, or at least having more retention or more viewership per capita, if you will, than their gaming side? I would suggest probably not.
Just
but I
chatting
don't
is
know.
100%. Just chatting is 100% doing it, and if you look at it right now, Asmongold does React content and talking and political conversation, whether or not we think of it as political or not. He is at the top. We are looking at Hassan doing the exact same thing. He is at the top. Anytime that these people play a game, the views go down. We know that
Yeah,
as
but
long
that's
as
what
it's
the
a
big
person
ones.
whose
But I'm talking
opinion-
like overall, right? Like for the
Well, yeah,
just
because you can't just
in
be a
general.
gluff shitto and expect viewers on anything, period. When people watch a game streamer nowadays, it usually is because it's like some VTuber who they have like a parasocial sexual crush on a 2D avatar of, or it's because they care about that person's opinion. They think that they're wiser. They think that they can tell them
Yeah,
about
I just
life
think
in
this
the
is
world.
all cover. Honestly, it's all cover, and people do this all the time. I don't think you're doing this on purpose, Tuna. To be clear, I don't want to accuse you of that, but that's absolutely right.
You think it okay?
This absolutely a thing where like we make all these excuses about, well, it's not really anti-Semitism. There's all these other reasons they're doing it. No, come on, let's be real. This happens over and over and over again. This is continually, they're not even getting a slap on the wrist for it. No one's getting even a temp ban for it. But they're doing temp bans for every other ethnicity, every other thing. Like Asmongold getting only a slap on the wrist. And it was only a slap on the wrist, to be clear. Getting that 2-week suspension or whatever. Yeah, they're willing to slap on the wrist, even though they're financial incentives, right? Because you're right about that. They have financial incentives here, right? Sure. Well, we don't want to lose Asmongold forever, so we're just going to slap on the wrist and show, do our wag our fingers and say, no, that's not okay. We will punish you for it. Wag, wag, wag. But they don't do it for any anti-Semitism. Go ahead.
In a world where your viewers respond to a streamer being anti-Arab by freaking out and mass complaining and leaving, and when that person, when another streamer says something anti-Jewish, they go, oh my god, this guy, he's
if Parallax is correct
support,
too, you're just also wrong
Israel.
about the just chatting thing, because gaming as a whole sweeps and is much higher percentage than just chatting. It's just that gaming's broken up into many categories, right? You have each individual game.
Okay, there are two different ways to look at it. I'm saying, who are the most watched people? Who are the power watchers? Who are the people that are doing like 16 to 20 hours a day? It's not the gamers. There are a lot of people on here streaming a fucking MMO to 5 people. That's the part of the platform that is not making money. The thing that makes money is sponsorships, massive amounts of people either buying turbo or watching ads on side of a thing that they will sit through the ads because they know they can always participate in the chat during those ads for a little bit, just talk to people, be like, what's he saying? Yeah. you know me. You know that I'm not interested in trying to defend anti-Semitism.
I know you
think,
are a little bit of a contrarian, though.
I trust me. The type of contrarian I am is the type that is going to be saying something much more along the lines of anybody who cares about this dispute enough to try and ruin other people's lives and financial security is a psychopath.
Oh,
that's my
okay.
contrarian.
Because camaraderie is asking this too, and I think it's a good time to address it. And I addressed it on Twitch, right? But or on Twitter. I'm sorry. But it's a good time to address it now. Camaraderie says, would you propose a more balanced punishment or less extreme rhetoric? What do you see as the solution to imbalance? So a lot of people in other communities are putting all this out to say that Frogan should be banned, that Hassan should be banned, that all these people should face financial ruin and punishment. As you were saying, that's not my solution. That's not what I want to happen. I don't think anyone should be banned for these takes. I don't think Fresh and Fit should be banned for their takes. I don't think Sneeko should be banned for their takes. I don't think that Frogan should be banned for her Arab to Jew tier list, right? In fact, I think it's helpful to me to have these people just say it. Just say it. Just say it out loud, right? Without masking up. That way, I know how they feel. I know how Twitch feels. I know how everyone feels. I get it. I'm not asking for bans here. I am saying that the people who are getting banned for saying other shit, like Asmongold, should be treated to the same standard. And the standard I want is Asmongold doesn't get a ban either when he says crazy shit, right?
How about, I see what you're saying. And obviously me and you are pretty close on the answer to the solution. I would talk about less banning. I think that when you are a platform that is slowly but surely moving towards fewer ads, but more viewers cluster on a couple of people, and then having those people do sponsored content, something like a Kai Cenat type stream is doing better. When you're trying to go towards personality content where where the people are watching because they like that individual person, I think you give the few people that have the magnanimous, boisterous, unhinged comments, you let them take hits on the wrist because they have something that is way more important to the platform than being a good person. They have the ability to tank the hits, to say something bad and not lose the viewers and not lose the side of the journalists. And it's almost a filter. It's almost a filter. I don't think that the platforms want hate speech. I also don't think that the solution is to like get really strict and restrict speech and like start banning people like crazy, or you'll get the YouTube situation. You'll
Hold
get
on.
people like leaving.
First of all, nice to see you, Fairy Queen. And Parallax, why don't you just hop in? Because you know more about this than I do. But
Parallax, you can get in.
Yeah, just hop in. And I'll pull you in and you can give the stats and figures. I don't have them on my fingertips. I get what you're saying, but I think that the lie, or it's not even a lie, but the reason you're wrong is because these people aren't even getting slaps on the wrist, right? Again, Frogan has said some crazy stuff. I can't find any time she's been given any kind of punishment. Again, if you can find that, please show me. I'd love to hear it. But she has made some wild comments about Israelis, about Jews, about U.S. veterans, about all sorts of groups. Nothing happens, right? Nothing happens. Whereas Asmongold and other much bigger streamers, right, with much more pull, much more audience, they get slaps on the wrist at the very least, right? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Tornado Kane says being an unemployed playable Twitch streamer is a pretty good punishment. Fair. Okay, fair. I'll have to give you that one. Okay, Parallax.
I mean, this shit will inevitably all crumble down, and it will become permanent stain on the record of people who did what the market told them was best to do, I don't think that it's gonna be like, oh, everybody's just okay with it and it never affects anybody. But I also don't think that people after this are gonna be thinking to them, oh, these people hated Jews the whole time. That's all it was about. I think they would just be like, you were unprincipled. It's going to be the mundanity of evil yet again, like it's always been. Very few people are driven by extreme hatred. They just don't have principles. They just don't care. That's what I think.
But here's the thing: they do, except for when it comes to Jews. They do have principles, except for when it comes to Jews. But go ahead, Parallax. Okay. Give us your thoughts.
I think that's a better explanation than your first one. It's definitely not a bottom line thing. They're top just chatting streamers. Hassan is one of the three. The other one is Asman, who clearly not anti-Semitic. And then a guy I've never really heard of, so I can't make too much commentary on him. But even him specifically has about 50-50 game streaming versus just chatting. Asmongold is like 60-40. So Hassan is the only person in the top 10 that's like actually just a dedicated just chatting streamer. This is still primarily a gaming platform too. Now, I'm not sure. Like, well, actually, I think
it's a personality. Okay, when people watch a gamer, they are watching them for their personality, for their takes about life. They do constantly ask them political questions. They ask
no shot. The top streamers are Queso, Kai Cenat, Jinxie. These guys are not being asked for their political.
Yeah, can you give us a clip of Kai Cenat weighing in on a political issue?
No, yeah, the only political issue you can get him weighing in on is how annoyed he is with the Kamala Harris campaign for asking him to do a promo. They don't like these guys are not political activists. They're not politically active in any way.
I'm not. Do we have to get into the primary difference between Kai Cenat? Kai Cenat is supposed to be like the new wave, and there are streamers that are coming with them. But the wave they're holding on to right now, the one that they would much rather everybody be Kai Cenat, obviously.
I'm sure, but Queso, Jinxie, Sketch, like I can continue to name. These are all the guys that are getting the viewership, and they are specifically anti-political.
They're specifically anti-what?
Anti-political. Jinxie, Queso, Sketch, all of them. None of them want to weigh in on politics. None of them want to weigh in on social issues.
Yeah, it's a suicide mission to do so.
Right, so how do you think it's the bottom line that's the motivator here? When just chatting is just not as big as you seem to think it is.
No, it's not. I'm talking about when you have the numbers. When you have these numbers, the just chatting stream. Okay, how do I put it this way? Just chatting watchers, of which there are a ton, don't want to watch games. So when you get rid of the personality, they're not just going to go to another League streamer. They're not just going to go to another just chatting person. They have an attachment to that specific creator, and only that creator, and only their takes. Unlike
this
a League
is super
person
not
who
true.
wants to see somebody's going to want to watch competitive League play from a competitive League person no matter what. They're not going to care what they're saying. They're not going to care if they're Chinese or American. They just want them to be good. And if that person gets banned because they did something scandalous, they'll watch the second best person, the third best person. The personality doesn't matter there nearly as much. But when we're talking about retaining the viewers that are, what was the most recent Clancy statistic? He said, I think it's 70% of the platform are power watchers.
I don't know.
But Clancy has made it clear that most of the platform, they are holding on to people who are parasocial. This is a parasocial platform. So when you ban a person, and I think it's going to be very, very hard to tighten the rules and not end up banning Hassan. You can't really tighten the rules much more on like quote unquote hate speech.
Sure, but I don't think Hassan is your bottom line, and I think treating it like Hassan is your bottom line is insane.
I'm not saying that he's the bottom line. I'm saying that you don't get those viewers back if you ban Hassan.
Yes, you do. They'll go elsewhere.
What, do they just watch Denims now?
Yeah, actually, there's like plenty of people they'd watch. Unfortunately, yeah, they go to like Denims, they go to Mike from PA.
Listen,
they branch out to other just chatting streamers. They just do.
Do you not think that you know that they're going to be following the trail, and they're going to ban that person because they are also edging the line, and then the next person, then the next person, suddenly all of the big.
So far, you've described a good thing, to be clear.
To people here, but to people that are inside of the money making, counting part of this ecosystem, no.
I think
no,
that they make
I
more
vehemently disagree.
money, right? I think that they make more money, honestly, because they'll get more advertisers. It'll be easier for them to get advertisers, right? It's just something where I think they're putting their ideology ahead of their bottom line. I think that your premise here, Tuna Chip, and I'll bring someone in that disagrees with me too here in a second. They're getting
Sure,
ready,
yeah, go ahead.
right? But
I'm just
like,
saying, can you be open to the idea? I think you've already said that you are. So it's a simple disagreement at the end, but it's just like I think that a market that was more strict on anti-Semitism, the same way that it's strict on like anti-black racism, if it just switched and people and if viewers and advertisers felt about anti-Jew racism the same way they did about anti-black racism, they would pull out. And they're not pulling out because they don't feel the same way. And you can say that the market, and you can say that the advertisers, and you can say that the viewers, and whatever it is, you can say the analytics are. But when you look at an entity that is holding on for dear life, and you just say, well, they have to be too, I would say you have to say structural. You have to say unprincipled. You can't just say it's because they hate Jews.
Like, if this was one incident, right, I would agree with you. If it was just one thing, I'd be like, okay, yeah, we can't just assume it off of one take, one thing. But this has been going on for over a year now. Over a year of turning a blind eye to some of the most vile anti-Semitic comments, right? To just turning no even slaps on the wrist, right? Not even a week-long ban, right?
There are slaps on the wrist, but you're saying there are instances where there should be slaps and there are no slaps, and then there are instances
according to
where
their
there are
toss.
hammers when there should not be hammers.
To be clear, I think if we're talking should, I don't think anyone should be getting these. I don't think Asmongold should have gotten a slap on the wrist. I like just from that kind of perspective, right?
Sure.
I am saying that as per their toss, they should be taking action when it comes to these certain things. I don't like their toss, to be clear, but it's telling that when it comes to anti-Semitism, they do nothing. When it comes to any other form of prejudice or racism, they do something.
If it was
we can't say that's nothing, right?
If it was a news organization, if it was somebody that has influence over the beliefs of people in a large way, if it was something like MSNBC or Fox who get to create they get to create essentially the beliefs of their viewers because it's centralized. You make the talking points, you give it to your content creators, and then they disseminate it. I could be so much more on board. But because this is a open format, because this is a whoever attracts and retains wins type deal, I think the only time that you make bans or don't make bans, it's not because you're trying to create a narrative, it's you're just following what works. I
feel like if that were true, Destiny would be here right now, right? Like if that were true, Destiny was printing tons of fucking money for them.
He's pulling people off platform and he's making most of his money.
Right, so he'd be bringing them back if he came back to Twitch.
I'm saying while he was on Twitch, he was pulling people off platform.
Yeah, because he knew that they were going to do what they did. Obviously, he started pushing people towards his website.
Okay,
hold on.
That's what I would have done if I were in his position. But either way, he's still printing money.
I just don't see that. Also, like, did Twitch viewership go down after he was banned, or did it go up?
I somehow doubt it had.
Right? Like,
I somehow doubt it had a noticeable.
I don't think it had any impact at all on their viewership.
Which is kind of my point, right? Like banning Hassan would not lose those viewers; they would just go elsewhere.
I think that they are very different people. The fact that Destiny's viewers, most of them, the enfranchised ones, the ones that are paying the most money and giving the most views, were watching on DGG as opposed to on Twitch. There were a lot of people on Twitch and a lot of people on YouTube, and when you get banned from one after another, most people, whenever a ban happened, didn't go to the other places that had ads and had distance. They wanted to get closer after the ban so they moved to DGG.
Yeah, wait a minute. DGG just embeds YouTube, and it used to embed Twitch. Yes, it has its own sub ecosystem, but he absolutely was garnering a fuck pile of subs on this platform. You're
I'm
being
not claiming
goofy.
that he's not making them money. I'm saying that
Like a
the
fuck pile
nature
of
of
it.
his contract.
Let's be direct. A fuck pile of it.
Okay. Do you also think that behind the scenes, or do you think that it's impossible that behind the scenes, advertisers and other streamers were saying they're going to leave if you don't do something about this?
Well, here's a good point from my chat.
That's actually a good Grackle.
This
Holy shit.
actually is a good point from my chat from Latineer Goat. If it was about money, Zakwarar would be permabanned. That account specifically costs Twitch millions of dollars. It's not monetized, right? Twitch has to. It ends up costing them millions of dollars to hold his to platform him, basically, right? Because they don't get any money off.
You
of
could
it.
say it's a good point, but it's a good point against the money argument. But that also is a good point against the Twitch is a platform driven by promoting anti-Semitism when the dude got a slap on the wrist for being anti-Arab. Unless you're thinking that
hold
they're a place
on.
that wants to promote
What did
all
you?
races.
How do you? Okay, repeat that, because I think if you repeat it out loud, you'll realize how crazy what you just said sounded. So please repeat it.
If the argument is Twitch wants to promote anti-Semitic content,
yes. Well, no, they're
why wouldn't
anti-Semitic.
they
I
just
don't
ban
know
the
about that.
person?
That's a little far, right? But
Okay,
they are
sure.
anti-Semitic.
Maybe that's not your position.
And
Twitch
they don't
is
care
okay
about people being
Twitch is more
anti-Semitic.
okay with anti-Semitism than they are with other forms of racism. How about that? Is that your?
Sure. Yeah. That's accurate.
If that's the argument, then him getting a 1 week, 2 week ban for anti-Arab sentiment as opposed to a permaban like you would get if you made anti-black sentiment means that there's actually just a pro-racism period argument, not a they want, because this is the thing that is going on here.
No, because I'm saying that had he said
I don't
that
know
about
different
his,
treatment
if I may,
is an argument
and I'll
in
let you go
favor.
right now. I'll let you go right after, right? My argument is, had Asmongold said something about Israelis or Jews, the same effect that he did about the Palestinian people, he would not have gotten a ban at all.
I don't know, man. It's hard.
Go ahead. I'm going to pass the ball to
I'll let you make your point in just a second. If Asmongold had said something that was anti-Israeli in the same way that he did when he was in the same way as he did make an anti-Palestinian statement, he absolutely would have gotten banned.
No, he would not have.
No shot.
Absolutely. The same way, I think that he would have. But that's because I consider what Asmongold is doing slightly different from what Hassan and some of his associates are doing. It's not really by the principle of like whether or not you can. It's not by the principle of whether or not these statements are out of context racist or in context racist even. I think it's mostly just about signaling to Twitch people that they get worried about versus people that they don't get worried about. I think that it's easy to be cavalier in anti-Israeli, anti-Zionist, and anti-Semitic statements in a way that has this huge overlap with being quirky and anti the man, which is a mainstay of
what?
liberal Twitch.
You know it is the same way that when people have made like jokes where they're like, oh, Italians should get the wall or something. It's like there are a group of people that there are more socially acceptable forms. Like you can go deeper, and it looks like an innocent joke. You can't make a watermelon street shitter. Any of those jokes are immediately like, this guy's just racist.
Because the overlap of those jokes and the people
especially if you just say the slur. That's crazy, Tuna.
The audience for those jokes are primarily actually racist. Which is not to say
I got some news for you about the audience for anti-Semitic jokes, brother. Okay, I got some news.
Hold on, don't put words in my mouth. Not in the middle of the sentence, at the very least.
Teens and tweens.
What my mouth is. I think that there is a slightly larger gap in anti-Semitic comments and sort of quirky anti-Israeli, anti-Zionist sentiment because it's an easy target for people who want to be anti-man, anti-power hierarchy, anti-whatever. And when I say anti-man, I mean like anti-the man, as in like a
anti-patriarchy.
Sure.
Well, the man as in like the 70s, bro, not patriarchy.
Anti-establishment.
I hate everything about how you said it, but I understood it.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, one, even if that's true, that's still anti-Semitic.
Okay.
Right. Even if that's true, that's still anti-Semitic. It's showing that we can make comments on Jews specifically that would not be acceptable in any other contents, and then we give the reason why we think it's okay, but it's still at its heart anti-Semitic.
How do you feel about the difference between how do you feel when somebody escalates in like a twit longer neglect versus abuse? Like, how do you feel when a person says, oh, my boyfriend just we were hanging out and he let his friends say all these nasty things about me versus he says nasty things about, if that person were to say he was abusive and then you figure out he just let other people be abusive.
Neglect can be a form of abuse, right? It's a very specific form of abuse.
Sure, but when a person says
I get what you're saying, right?
So I think that we all know that it is bad to do both. But it is also very silly to say, in my opinion, to say Twitch is anti-Semitic is to say is to do that same exact motion, as opposed to say Twitch is fine with anti-Semitism, which is totally accurate. Of course that's accurate. But you know that it's a little conspiratorial.
It says something
it's a little bit of an
more,
escalation.
Right? I think it says something more, and I think I don't know if you're doing this on purpose or not, but you're doing it, right? You're downplaying it when you say, I understand, right, how no other group is treated in the same way as this group is. This group is singled out
by this platform.
They don't care. Yeah, by this platform. That they don't care about these people in the same way they care about every single other group except for maybe white people, right? Except for maybe white people, right? That does come off as anti-Semitism. That is almost by definition anti-Semitic.
Does it not feel a little?
Look, if I let every single person, if I smile and greet every single person that comes into my restaurant, right? Every single person except for this ethnicity, except for black people, it would be right for you to be like, wait a second, that's weird. That seems racist, and I think it's okay to call that racist. We get it. We'd understand it. Yeah, no, makes sense. This is what I'm saying is happening at Twitch. I think that every single other group, except for maybe white people, for maybe white people.
Why are you putting a maybe on that?
I disagree.
Because they ban people for saying cracker. So they do have some, right, standard, right?
Sort of. There are some pretty infamous examples of it since that rule was instituted. People getting away with it. Frogan referring to people's comments as quote cracker ass takes is one that stands out. Yeah, I don't know. Even white people seems to be not as free. Not
certainly
as
the rules
enforced.
Exceptions are coming up. The same people are coming up with these rules exceptions. Ditto for other protected classes. I think it was on Anything Else last night. Dan and Destiny were going over, I believe, some of Frogan's comments about veterans, which are protected.
Oh, we saw that on my
and
stream
protected by
a couple
TOS.
days ago. Is Destiny just repeating my content? Does he watch my
Undoubtedly.
stream and then just do the same thing the next day?
I don't think he has to watch
Come
it.
on.
I think that he has to just steal it.
Fair enough.
Wick, you've just got your fingers on the pulse of the zeitgeist, Wick.
Maybe, right? But here's the thing, right? We see how these groups are treated and how they have some protection, right? That's if you make jokes about them, if you try to denigrate them, if you try to point them as lesser, it is specifically against the toss, and you will receive a punishment for it. Whether that should be the case or not is a different argument. But being that that is the case, that is what toss says, I think it does it does say something. It does say something, and it is meaningful when this group in particular, you can make a tier list. Did you see the tier list, by the way, at the beginning of my show? Where Arabs were good and Jews were bad.
Oh my God, man. I need you. I'm sorry. It's not just, it is you implying that the subtext was the pretext and then saying that there was a subtext underneath the subtext. Like, I can agree with you that that is an interpretation of it, but it is literally a person saying, are you a real Arab or are you a bad Arab? That is what the tier list was. Does that make it any better? It makes it different than what you're describing, for fucking sure. It is not. Let's put people on a scale between Arab and Jew.
Arab
there aren't
coded,
gray areas
needs
there.
perms, thinks it's a slur, loves Sabra. Sabra, what does Sabra mean? It's both a hummus and a term that means directly, spelled the same, pronounced the same, Jew born in Israel.
Okay. How about this?
It's just we don't have to do this mental gymnastics. This isn't the Olympics. You won't get a gold medal for it. Okay, you can just say, yeah, that means Jews.
I am not claiming otherwise. I'm saying that is a subtext that can be interpreted, not the outward, and that is integral to deciding whether or not the TOS is just being flagrantly or neglectfully misapplied in your view.
So how would you interpret the outward then?
Okay, this is what I would. This is what the tier list looks like to me, and I'll put the difference here. It will be.
So it looks like ranking Arabs to me, but carry on.
Yeah, well, I think that ranking Arabs is totally fine, especially if you're.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, because you would do the same.
That's fucking insane.
You're fucking insane. Okay, if somebody made
I am, but
list,
that's not relevant to the conversation.
If you made a tier list and you were a gay person, and the top of the tier list was the perfect gay person, and then you moved your way down, you're like person who or you could put like turf in the middle, like lesbian turf, and then the last tier was watches Will and Grace. The point of the joke is to say you ain't really gay, you ain't really Arab, because you're not, and this is important here, this is the subtext that I'm reading from it. The idea that being Arab is defined in negation of supporting Judaic, whether it's a business principle or what can be seen as like a culture move of pro-Jewishness.
Whether you love Jews or hate Jews, basically.
Exactly, but that's
what if we were to rank black folks based on the darkness of their skin tone? Would that be okay?
If you were black, yeah.
Okay, you're fucking wild, dude.
What if we did it on the basis of who they voted for?
That's only two. That's two categories. Bottom, I'm good with that.
Trump lover, same thing.
Yeah.
No,
it's not the same
it's
thing.
Literally, you.
Okay. Hold on. There's abstaining from votes. There's your third-party candidates. There's having somebody else vote for you.
That's not a real category.
I'm sure it is.
No.
The top one would obviously be
that last one is deceased.
Mail-in ballot, and then the bottom one would be stuffs the mail-in ballots
Don't
for
step all over my joke. What are you doing?
Look,
shave that
I
mustache.
promise you, if I made a tier list about black people, okay, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get a
But if you made one with white people,
I'm going to get banned. Something's going to happen to me if I made a tier list.
I would do one with white
real
people.
Black people, fake black people, and I made a tier list, and I did that. I am going to get in trouble. They're not Jewish.
hold on.
That
The counter,
was okay,
yeah, the
and
counter
it was a Arab tier list. Okay, how about this?
If a black
Just be
dude makes
real.
the same tier list about white people, he's fine. To be clear, let's just like get that out of the way. If a black dude makes a white people tier list, he's fine. So like Wick being white is not relevant here.
I know, but I'm saying that he is acting as if this was a Jew tier list. That would have gotten her
It
in
was
a lot
from.
more
It wasn't
trouble.
just Jews. It was Arabs to Jews.
It
Yes.
wasn't Arabs to Jews though,
It
because that's not what the
was, it
spectrum
No,
was.
it
It was
was.
Arabs
It's
to
typically in opposition for people who are. Here's the thing: the funny thing about like if you don't vote for Biden, you're not black. Like that's funny because there's Biden, and then there's like everything, and then there's everything else. But there's nothing about the joke is that if you're voting for a Republican, you've negated in some way your own being black. You can't really make that comparison to this one though, and I kind of regret making that comparison now because Arabs, well, Jews can be Arabs, right? That's but it's being cast as in opposition to one another by a group that is they're leaning even if they don't believe this, they're leaning into the subtext of we hate these people, they must be expunged. So if you
Sure.
put them at the bottom of the tier, then that at the very least you should
got
understand
in order.
why it's signaling the anti-Semitism at least.
Look, in order for us to give this charity, we have to ignore every single comment that Frogan has made in the past. We have to ignore all the context surrounding this. We have to ignore the other people on the panel and their views that we know. We know what their views are. We have to
It's not
ignore
about charity.
all of
It's
this
not about charity.
context, and I can't do that. This isn't a blank room. This isn't a white
Wick.
room where we could just bring in things and look at it like in a microscope. We have to look at it in context. There's no defending this as anything other than a Arab to Jew tier list. It's just true.
I think that you are doing the same thing that a girl does when she says that her ex was abusive, but it was actually that he was negligible. You are purposely putting your thumb on the scale, not because it's a good thing versus a bad thing, but because you want people to care more about it. You think people don't care enough. People just don't care, and that's the problem. And you
Sure,
can
I
have
get
you can
it.
be at
People
war with
don't
the world
care.
for not
I
caring.
get it.
That's the problem.
That is a problem. You're right. But that's not the fact that that is true does not negate anything else I've said about this comment, right? And about this clip and about this tier list that they made. It is obvious, and the same people we watched it earlier, the same people who got mad at Asmongold for making a comment that denigrated a culture are running defense for a tier list that denigrates an ethnicity.
Yep.
And by extension, a culture, right? They are okay with it when their friends do it. They are not okay with it when people they don't like do it. And that's a problem.
You can repeat all the things we agree on, but if you don't address the main disagreement, and we can just leave the disagreement where the disagreement is, you're not saying everything you said legitimate, but it it's not sufficient for the conclusion that the tier list was a Arab to Jew tier list. It was conclusive to the idea that this is good Arabs versus bad Arabs. That's what the spectrum was. You're good at being an Arab. You are a proud Arab. You are.
How would you classify a Sabra
because
Arab?
you don't defend yourself.
No, time out. How would you classify a Sabra Arab?
It was a good Arab versus cuck Arab.
How would you classify a Sabra
Are they
Arab?
defining cuck Arab?
Are you
Cuck
really
Arab?
calling
I'm
Sabra?
saying
Yeah,
right there.
cuck or Sabra, I guess.
I'm saying that is what she is saying when she says eats Sabra. She's saying you're a cuck. You eat Sabra. You're not even a real Arab. A real Arab would make their own fucking hummus instead of eating this Jew hummus. That's what she's saying. She's clearly anti-Semitic, but that's not the same.
That's crazy, bro.
goddamn
Jew hummus
thing.
is crazy. You're on a
Are
rampage
you
tonight,
illiterate?
man.
That's what it's saying.
I don't think this is a test in literacy, my guy.
Like You don't have to dive into this person's like neurons and figure out which are the anti-Semitic ones and are they firing right now. The question is, all right, what is this person communicating to other people? What have they been? Have they been made aware of what they're communicating to other people? Have they offered any kind of either change in behavior or explanation for their behavior? And is it satisfactory to convince
Hey,
to
do we need
communicate
to
to
watch the
us
whole
that they meant
5-minute
something
clip
else?
again? Do we
I
need to
don't
watch
think
a whole 5-minute clip again? We might. Here. Someone. Does anyone have perms in here to stream? So we can all watch it together.
Yeah, I could share screen according to my computer.
Do it, and let me DM you the.
Send me, yeah, DM to me, please.
Give me a second.
Tuna chip.
And we'll watch it together
What?
because I think people need to know. People who've come in, I got a little more people watching me than I did like when I first showed it. So I think it's important.
While we load this up, Tuna, I don't feel that you are because I know you, but I feel that you are based upon your words. Would you describe what you're doing as like running a little bit of cover for this, or like what are you just
No,
trying to
I think
explain it? I'm not trying to say
it
you
my
are.
way-
I kind of want you to give me your words on what.
If I had it my way, Frogan would be covered in tomato juice every day at the center of the town square. I'm not running defense. I'm saying that I think you have to say things that are true and things that are reasonable, or else you look like a clown when you.
Do you think
put
what
your
I've
thumb on the
said
scale
today
when
is
you
unreasonable?
stretch truths to try and make your point more emotionally compelling to people that aren't listening to you, not because they are denying the truth, but because they see the truth and they just don't feel the same way you do.
Okay. Do you think anything I said tonight was unreasonable?
I think it is unreasonable. Yeah, I think that the main thing that's unreasonable is to say that the tier list, that the whole nature of it was Jew on one end, Arab on one end, and then the people in the middle are like kind of Jew, kind of Arab. It's like there was a dumpster bin that was there to make the joke, to say that you are not a real Arab if you support the Strauss Corporation, if you give money to Israeli businesses. That's why it's there.
Okay. Let's watch the clip and see what people have to say. You ready, Parallax? Go
I
ahead.
am ready. I think you were unreasonable when you said cuck Arab Jew hummus. That was me, Tuna. That was the line for me.
Okay.
Ethan Klein from my basement. Beautiful Friday evening. My kids just went to sleep. And I opened Reddit to browse my community, who I love so well. And at the top of the subreddit is this very lovely clip entitled Just a Casual Panel Provided by Twitch at their con, broadcasted on their official channel. What is it? Well, it's a panel hosted by Frogan and 4 of her friends, in which they have a tier list where they rate people where good is Arab and bottom is loves Sabra. Sabra is a very popular hummus brand. I know in Israel, it's pretty much in everybody's refrigerator, and it's kosher. They're an American company, but they've been the subject of the pro-Palestine boycott. I mean, it's kind of just Arab good, Jew bad. I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing this any other way. And what's crazy is that I've been suspecting that Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem. Obviously, it started with Hassan platforming Houthi.
It didn't start here, but
terrorists,
whatever, right? And Sabra also means, it's not just a hummus gang, right? It also means a Jewish person who was born in Israel. It's a double meaning thing. It's a double entendre. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask, we could pause there just to ask a quick question of Tuna. Tuna, would you agree at least with the premise that Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem? How Ethan just worded it?
Yeah, I don't think that Ethan's being unreasonable at all.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in real quick here. Can you pause that for a sec? Right above Love Sabra, I didn't notice this the first time I watched it. Right above Love Sabra is thinks Arab is a slur.
Yes.
What group of people, I hate to do the end run around the debate of whether Sabra is a dog whistle or not.
Yeah.
What group actually thinks Arab is a slur?
People that are so disconnected from their own culture that when they hear the word, they don't think of it as a reclaimed they think of it as the thing that gets shouted at you at school because of 9/11, like deeply westernized. That's the idea.
What, like the Irish, or what other group could we apply
No,
this
no.
to?
Everybody on this spectrum
He's
is
saying
an
it's
Arab.
Arabs who feel this way. Yeah.
I think Arab is no, it's Jews who feel this way if they're called like Arabic, and they go, like, don't call me that. I'm like, I'm this other thing.
It is.
Yes. I think at a minimum, it's worth noting that there are multiple interpretations and none of them are great.
Right.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep watching.
It started with Hassan platforming Houthi terrorists and showing unfettered terrorist propaganda on his channel. But now they've unbanned Sneeko.
Down with the Yahud! Down with the Yahud!
And they've just unbanned Fresh and Fit this week. These are two of the most prolific Jew-hating creators on the entire internet. And these are the two they've targeted to bring back. Now, taking this all in account, here's an officially sanctioned event at TwitchCon. Let's take a look at it and see what exactly is Twitch endorsing here.
Okay. It's the perfect transition to our first person, Hassan.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder where they're going to put Hassan. I'm going to guess they're going to put him in Arab.
Hassan is Turkish, but he's a brother.
Yeah.
You know? So...
Yeah, I think he'd be on Arab coded.
I mean, I would put him in Arab, to be honest.
I would put him also in Arab.
Which is great. That's the good one. That's the one you want.
Austin. Let's go
This is
down the
fucking
line.
crazy. I didn't realize they did this in person.
Arab.
He's Arab.
Arab.
He's
actually
Arab.
Lebanese. Like,
Yeah.
Stop running cover for this tuna forever. This is
I'm
crazy.
not running cover, dude.
Good job, Austin.
The
Fucking
next
loser.
person is one of my favorite people, Ethan Klein.
I told you guys to clap.
This is a good reaction.
That was a good one. That's
Jewish.
Dude, where's the? You guys are missing a category for Zionist. That was a joke. That was just a joke in my.
stand up.
We're very proud of you, Denims, for bringing anti-Semitism right on stage, and you guys are killing it. And may I point out here, Chevron.
Okay, now he
Capcom,
just goes through
and
the.
Samsung.
We don't need to really watch the rest. That's
Do you know?
tier list is covered, right? Again, given all the context, given everything we know about these people's positions, giving everything we know about how they view Ethan Klein, his stance on things, everything, it is impossible to not see this as being anti-Jewish. Yeah, Zartek says you thought I was exaggerating. Do you still think I'm exaggerating? People who were thinking, oh, Wick calls everything anti-Semitism. Do you still think that?
That's fucking crazy. A Twitch-sanctioned live in-person event, and
Could you imagine if I did this with like, again, whites are good, and then we have loves fried chicken, loves watermelon at the bottom, and then I took Prime Kai, okay? And then I said, which one does he go in? Oh, let's put him in the bottom one with loves fried chicken and loves watermelon. Can you imagine anyone seeing anyone do that and saying that's not racist? That's just I don't know. He just likes factory farming. And so that's why you put him in that tier. No, it would obviously be racist. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the first time I've seen that, and that is...
It's pretty indefensible.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the broad statement about whether Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem, simply because I don't think that they're going to stop taking cues from the ADL. I don't think the organization's power is going to be diminished in the United States. I don't think that Sarah Silverman or Larry David need to begin filing restraining orders against Hassan. I do think that the material is distasteful, disgusting, in this case, anti-Semitic, pretty clearly.
Which, being that it was at a live Twitch-sanctioned event, and they have a history of not punishing people for anti-Semitism, you might extend that into Twitch has a broader anti-Semitic issue.
You could. You could. I would quibble on that. I would go back into like they have a problem with being distasteful about things being distasteful against groups that are sort of regarded as being in power, depending on the current political cycle.
Even if that was making fun of white people, if they had a cracker tier list, I think that wouldn't fly.
I don't know about that.
I don't think that would fly. And the evidence I give is they've banned people for doing stuff like that. At least temporarily. They've given slaps on the wrist.
Did they ban anybody from this group for doing stuff like that?
Hassan got a ban for it.
He actually got a ban.
He got I think it was a week ban, maybe a 2-week ban. It wasn't that long. Vaush got banned for it, right? There was a few people who got banned for it. They ain't gonna ban anyone for this.
I don't think that it's as cut and dry, the clip, and that's why they're not going to get a ban. If it was as explicit as Hassan saying cracker.
What could make it more explicit for you? What about that tier list would have to change for you to
it would
say,
be this.
yes, that's absolutely.
They would have to put Anne Frank at the bottom list. That's what.
No, because then they're just saying that's just a gender thing. That's just a gender thing. They're talking about it's still bad, but it's not necessarily Jewish.
Women of any race can be very annoying about.
True.
No, if they did a tier list for all races, and then they said we're doing a race tier list, and then they put Jew at the bottom and they put Arab at the top, as opposed to a supposed, and this is the whole point, when something is covert versus it has multiple interpretations, you can rest on multiple interpretations in either direction. That's what I'm talking about when it's explicit. You can say that the reason the tier list was made was in order to make digs at a Jew, and that's probably true. I think that it is almost certain that this tier list was framed the way it was, and that Ethan was included in the list because she knows that she stands to gain from making jokes and poking the bear and trying to fuck with this big, slowly collapsing podcast where the viewers are atrophying away and moving towards Hassan, and because she sees herself as like the external liver of Hassan, she wants to be there to suck him up with a straw. That's the reason. She hates a Jew. She hates probably,
and she knows her
Jews.
audience loves when she hates on Jews, and she knows Hassan's audience loves it. That is the definition of an anti-Semitism problem.
I'm not
I don't know what you're
I
talking
literally agreed with you when we said that Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem, but I don't think that it is right to say, accurate to say, and I think it makes us look silly if when we try and say what she's doing here is anti-Semitic. True. What she is probably an anti-Semite. True. The people in her audience probably anti-Semites. True. When we start fucking just like saying other things that are like loose, like this was clearly, indisputably the use of the word sabra, which under certain interpretations can be understood to be like, you start looking like a conspiracy theorist. You start.
There's no interpretation. It's a. What interpretation is in that?
The interpretation is that Sabra is a Israeli-owned company associated with Pepsi, and she.
This sounds like facts so far, not
Arab
interpretation.
if you support it. That was what it was. It's the same shit when people say, don't go to Starbucks. It's the same shit as all of that.
So how are you interpreting it somehow less than anyone who's just going, oh, it's the fucking Jewish hummus brand? I feel like that's less interpretation, less of a stretch than you going, well, actually, it's cucked Arabs. It's, they got Arabs with a chair in the corner.
I am saying it is the Israeli hummus brand, and the reason that says likes, not
and
is a Jew
also,
lover.
it's not just that.
Wix
That's the
said.
problem.
Well, it'd be weird to put. Wait, no. It'd be really weird to put Ethan in a tier called cucked Arab, wouldn't it?
Do you think that is not the whole point? To say
that Ethan's not an Arab? That's the point?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're right. Or alternatively, it just means
like
Jews.
When Kendrick says Drake ain't black, it's the same damn shit, dude.
But Ethan's actually not Arab. That's the point.
I know.
I'm not point that we were discussing earlier is, hey, if you have the Family Guy color chart here, it's that one of these is, it's not just a spectrum, it's really two separate spectrums of okay to abuse, not okay to abuse. The joke there is racist, It's farcical, so it's okay. But it's making a joke of racism.
I just think the idea that this is cucked Arab, that interpretation is patently false by the fact that they put a non-Arab in there. He's not a cucked Arab.
And again,
it's just a Jew.
If they wanted to do that, right, there were so many other ways that they could do that, right? And it would still be weird. It would still be wrong. It would still be bad. But they specifically chose a double entendre. They specifically chose a double entendre, the word sabra, which is not just a hummus. That is the name of a hummus brand, but as well, it is a very well-known term to mean a Jew who was born in Israel. And they did that. Okay, look, she's dumb, but we can't let that ignorance save her, because I think that the people around her, they're not that dumb. They knew what they were doing. They knew it was a double entendre, and they put it up there on purpose. Yes.
I think the most you could say for these people is maybe they thought it would be funnier, and so the humor would kind of outweigh the awkwardness and the distastefulness of the joke itself, and you could make that defense.
Hey, look, here's the thing. If they were like, ha ha ha, we know we're being racist, but it's funny. I mean, that's still gross, but I'd be like, oh, okay, right? But they're not doing that. They're trying to pretend. They're trying to gaslight us, right? And pretend that this was something it wasn't. It wasn't.
Listen, if you put a grainy filter on it, and they had Tuna's aesthetic, you could just cast it as a 70s game show, and it would be perfectly fine. That kind of racism was totally okay then. That's fucking ridiculous.
Are you telling me that you would listen? The lack of music probably didn't help them at the very least.
Yeah, the dead silence in the studio.
Yeah, because nobody's laughing. If you had the Price is Right thing going on, I feel like it would have been more difficult to take it as straightforward and serious, which is the problem. I'm going to go back here because I disagree with Tuna's defenses for it completely. I think they're just totally fucking insane. My not defense of this, but my defense of Twitch, I guess.
Roll it back. I'm not going to let.
No. I'm going to continue.
I have to interrupt because you're saying I'm.
No, you don't have to interrupt. You just.
You're saying you're lying about me though. You're lying. You're lying about me. I'm not going to have you lie and finish it. Okay. I am not defending it. I'm saying
we can argue
less
over the
overt than he's claiming, and when he claims that it's so overt, he is making himself look like a fool.
I was trying to discuss later. This is completely absurd. What a stupid fucking thing to quibble over. In the middle of the sentence.
No, you're calling me a liar. You are lying about me, and you're calling me a defender.
Then you can talk about it at the end of my position. That would be easy and simple to do, and would take you no effort.
Fail it like a dinosaur surviving the goddamn meteor strike. Take your time.
Okay. I hate getting derailed like this. It's so fucking stupid. Anyways, my defense of Twitch, which isn't really a defense because I condemn them for this. They're my ideological enemies. I hate these people. I hate all the people who control these groups and corporations. But
what do you mean, these people? But anyway,
these people.
Yeah, who are you talking about?
Stereotypical liberal.
I was making a joke.
Women. No, I'm making a joke.
Okay,
no, so I think that they primarily make these decisions based off a vibe of how serious the person is and whether it sounds like whether a criticism sounds right wing. Difference between what Asmongold did and similar to the difference between what Destiny did versus some other criticisms of the left that might be offered by Hassan or criticisms of Israel that might be offered by Hassan is they sound right wing. They sound like they come from a place of dust. Right? It's not that you don't put the interpretation of Asmongold's statement is that if you put a Palestinian next to Asmongold, that Palestinian might actually be in danger or might be in a situation where Asmongold is going to mistreat them. That's the interpretation.
Do we think that's true?
I think that Twitch thinks that's true, 100%, unquestionably, without a shadow of a doubt. Similar to the statements that Destiny was banned for. Do I think that Twitch thought that if Destiny was in a vehicle in the midst of a crowded mob, that somebody might get hurt? Is that completely unreasonable? Have those statements never been taken seriously on the history of the planet?
It's
Did you post any? Let me ask it this way:
it's
Did you
hard because
view
I
any
know Destiny. It's hard
screenshots
because
the idea.
Hold on.
The idea that Asmongold would somehow like harm a Palestinian if they were in his presence is fucking insane. And I don't think, and I don't think that Twitch was like, you know what though, you know what? If there was a Palestinian around him, he'd hurt him. So that's why we got to take him down a peg. No fucking way. That's crazy.
Okay, I'll figure out a way to interpret it to retard later. Continue.
Here's the deal.
Dollar General fucking pirate software. Relax over there.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Before you guys snipe at each other
My
the
heart!
whole time, right?
You're gonna cut off my hair now.
Before you guys snipe at each other the whole entire time, right? Let me just kind of bring it back here to my take, and then we can recenter this. My problem with this, there's a lot of problems with this, but one of the major problems I have with this is that the same people who are defending Frogan, and I'm not talking about you, Tuna Chip. Put your guns down. I'm not talking about
It's
you.
fine.
I'm talking about Capri Sun guy, the Capri Sun Poppy, and these other people, right? They went hard on Asmongold's statements. They brigaded him. They tried to get him banned. They tried to paint him out as a monster for him saying what he said. And to be clear, I'm not defending what he said. I think what he said was uncalled for. These same people will then run defense or even participate in doing something very, very similar, if not worse, than what Asmongold said. That makes this, my problem with this, much more intense. I would have a problem with it anyway, but that makes my problem with it much more intense. And they, again, my thesis here is these people do not see Jews as human in the same way they see any other ethnicity, any other race. And I think that Dan Clancy, who runs Twitch, feels the same way.
Okay.
I think that's fair. And for the record, I don't think it's just Dan Clancy and Twitch. I think that's like a common cultural thing, right? Like, I very clearly remember growing up in the early aughts, like there were a ton of people questioned whether Jewish was a religion or an ethnicity. I feel like that's an identity that has struggled to have like a concrete definition societally for several reasons and for a long time. And so I don't think this is exclusive to Dan Clancy and Twitch. However, I think when presented with such clear examples of their ability to be treated as such and categorized as such and harassed as such, it's demonstrative of your lack of value placed in them that you do nothing about it.
Any other thoughts on this? Or did we
I just think that
the content is slop for pigs, and they obviously don't like Jews, and they can hide that view inside of their distaste for Israel and the popularity of that point. I just don't want us to look crazy. I want us to say statements that are not. I am consistent with it. Somebody in the chat at some point I saw it says like everything's a dog whistle until it's about us. I've always said that following a dog whistle and pointing out a dog whistle and talking about it makes you look like a psychopath. I said it with Polly. I'll say it now. When you get obsessed with this idea of covert language and bringing attention to covert language, you are playing into a trap where you make yourself look like a tinfoil freak. You don't have to rely on those things. You can just say, let's ask
the
point
people.
Where it's so cut and dry that it's a bad time to throw away the case for your own sanity.
Okay, well, I'm confident that the people who are reading this and who are seeing this and who will view this later, I put a poll in chat. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Poll in the YouTube chat. You can check it out. You can vote your conscience. You know what? It's okay if you think I'm crazy, or I think I sound crazy at least. That's all right. I won't judge you too harshly for it, right? But I am very confident that me saying that, oh, hey, this is just anti-Semitism, is not going to be viewed as crazy by people who are already brain broken.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And this isn't a gotcha. I'm being dead serious. Do you think it's possible to quote run cover or defend a thing, end quote, without necessarily intending to do so?
I think that the phrase "run cover" implies the idea of duplicity.
Okay, so just so that we're on the same page, I don't think it is your intent to make this palatable or okay in what you're doing. Is that a fair way of saying, like, no matter what my phrasing is, if you understand that, are we good?
When you say that I'm running cover and I disagree, that we are having a semantic disagreement and you don't think that I'm lying to you, I see that. I know that.
Okay, as long as like you understand that, whether we connect on the words or not, if you understand that what I'm saying is not, I think you're trying to make this okay, then we're good. Okay, good.
Sure, I don't have a problem with you. I think when in the same way where if someone calls someone a manipulator or someone says that someone's running cover, there are all these phrases that have a heavy imply of intent, have a heavy implication, and I cannot be more clear. If anybody was going to run cover, I hate Islam.
Sure. I don't think you are, but I think that a lot of the people that are spouting off about this on Twitter absolutely are.
He's like, let me make it very clear. Drops a bomb. Okay.
I think
that's not my job. That's the politicians.
Here we are. Gang. Any other thoughts? Otherwise, I'm going to probably call it a night. But if you have other thoughts, please go ahead.
Just briefly, I think I figured it out. Twitch treats the difference between Frogan's and Asmongold's statements as the difference between a 9/11 joke versus, I don't know, attacking an Arab at a parking lot. I think that's how they're treating this, or how they view it. They view one as on the other side of the planet, not serious, not of real concept, that their participants on their platform are not doing anything of real consequence. No more than making a 9/11 joke is supporting Osama bin Laden, right? Whereas statements that are about groups of people in the U.S. or in Western countries in general, or play on a rising sentiment that could have immediate political consequences, that's when their ears perk up. Doesn't necessarily have to be only right-wing things. I did say earlier, things that sound right-wing in nature are going to be a little bit more heavily suppressed. Because with the 9/11 joke, you have a pretense of humor, or a pretense of it being harmless. That's just not the case for what Aspen said.
I disagree with that too, because if that was the case, they would unban Destiny and not unban Sneeko, Fresh and Fit, these other people, right? Who are absolutely right.
Destiny said something of consequence.
But your whole spiel there was that, and maybe I misunderstood it, right?
Fresh and Fit are saying things of consequence. I think that they are in a similar vein of unserious, schizophrenic almost, just kind of like constantly spouting off, changing their positions every 6 months. I don't think that Sneeko's... Okay, how seriously do you take Sneeko's religious affiliation?
I don't take any of these people seriously, but it doesn't mean, right? That doesn't mean that they don't have serious impact on the world around them. I think that, again, by sending a signal, and I think that this does, that we're okay when you make fun of Jews. I think that it sends a signal not only to the audience, right? But I think it sends a signal to the streamers themselves that for Jews, game on, baby. Game on. These are fresh, clear targets. We will not punish you for making fun of them or attacking them.
Like a 9/11 joke.
I don't know if it's...
I don't know how the hell... This is super fucking not analogous, to be clear.
I think,
like a 9/11 joke versus an identity of...
Okay. I'm accusing Twitch of being retarded.
That's true as well, right?
They're always been arbitrary. Ideological fashion.
But these things can be... two things can be true at the same time, right? I think, and again, this is the evidence I'm presenting to you, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, right? The evidence I'm presenting to you and to my audience is the fact that they will give a slap on the wrist if, even for big creators like Asmongold, if you make fun of blacks, if you make fun of whites, if you make fun of Palestinians, Arabs, any other group. But for Jews specifically, you don't get that same slap on the wrist. We didn't see it when Frogan's done it. We didn't see it when Hassan's done it. We didn't see it when any of those groups have done it. I'm sure you could find one no-name streamer, maybe, but we can point to those same group that I just mentioned. We can point to Hassan getting a slap on the wrist for saying shit about white people right? So again, it's hard to see this as anything other than either anti-Semitism by omission or anti-Semitism by design. And either way, I think that's anti-Semitic.
Okay.
Wick,
that's a perfectly reasonable interpretation.
Yep. I will leverage one alternative, but I have to dip.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I think that there's another pattern that is underneath this as well, with both of the unbans, with the people that are perma'd, is that there is a differential treatment for when, and there is a default belief that when a white person says something racist, that it must have been on purpose. And when a brown person or an Asian person or somebody that isn't white, someone who's distinctly not of that ethnicity says it, that it is more permissible, it is less integrated, it's taken less seriously. Because also both of the unbans are black people. They are creators that, and I believe there's something to be said about the fact that there are multiple interpretations, multiple angles that you can go at that make it so that when you try and answer the question of what is the motive behind the problem, as opposed to saying, what is the problem and what can we do to make it so that they solve it, you get into weeds of disagreement and you make it into discourse as opposed to a very specific, this isn't okay, what is somebody going to do about it kind of thing. And it makes it look silly. Get what I'm saying?
I don't think I look silly. But that's fair. No, I get what you're saying. I understand the argument. I just disagree. And I think that's where we came on disagree.
Easy as that.
Yeah, easy as that.
Can I do a quick plug and then bounce?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cool. Sorry. It's just because I have very short term.
Do.
Thanks everybody for hanging out. Tuna Chip here on Twitch. You can talk. We have a show with Fairy Queen. I have a podcast with her called Thought Farm on Tuesdays. On Monday, very interesting thing happening. Monday, she is actually, this has nothing to do with me, she is going to be having a conversation with the man, the myth, the legend, the Crucible. She is going to be talking with Andrew about, his name's no longer Big Papa Fascist. What is it now?
Andrew Wilson?
Andrew Wilson. Just his name.
Andrew Wilson. Does he just go by his own name now?
Yeah.
Well, she's going to be doing debate with him about whether or not women should be able to vote. And then on Tuesday, we're going to have a conversation about education, children,
I mean,
the family,
it's an easy win for her. All she has to do when she comes on is like, if you didn't think my opinion was important, we wouldn't be debating now.
Very interesting.
I win.
We'll see.
Okay, I do like that, but I'm very interested to see this.
Yeah,
This is a good,
I'll watch what
good
she
conversation.
does. We'll see what she does, because he's going to try and drag her into the mud. He's obviously become a staple of the...
No, this is what's going to happen for real.
I
Principles
don't
before
have an
politics
affirmative
got
stance.
it. Principles before politics
I don't
got
have
it.
an affirmative
He
stance.
says, can't wait for him to spend 2 hours refusing to engage with the debate prompt. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't have to take a stance. You did. But
Okay.
She can literally just be there, and it will be fine. So what's going to be is, can he trick her into having a stupid conversation about literally something she didn't agree to? We'll find it. We'll find out. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.
Chip, always a pleasure. See you later, buddy.
See you, bud.
Gelatinous Cube, do you want to tell everyone what you got going on, I guess?
All right, so that is Rube.
Sorry.
It's a southern slang for retard. And a play on words. No, nothing at the moment. I have a Lancer game going on, all right? Not political. I have a Lancer game going on. If you like tabletop RPGs, or if you would like to try them, I do have in my server, Ash of Creativity, or you can find links to this on my channel, Gelatinous Rube on YouTube. It's a mech-focused game. Great introduction to your first RPG. If you would like an Iron Dome of your own, I would recommend the SSC Monarch chassis. We have plenty of rockets to
you're
fire.
tying it in. You're tying it in to the overall arching theme of today. But thank you, Cube, for coming in and talking with us. Gang, check him out. He's great. For now, I'll see you later, buddy. Bye bye. Parallax, you're up, buddy.
Yeah, and I don't give a fuck. I stream on Twitch. I play video games. I'm a big fat idiot. Love you, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Appreciate that you appreciate me. But have a good night.
See you later. Now it's just me, gang. Gang, if you enjoyed the discussion, if you like my content, if you'd like to support me, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me. If you're following me on Twitch or on Kick, hit that follow button. I would really appreciate it. And you ask, why are you, if you think that Twitch is, I can hear you guys saying this now. If you think Twitch is anti-Semitic, why are you streaming it on Twitch? Because I don't flee the field. Yes, it's anti-Semitic, but it does not always have to be so. We can change this. We can make it not anti-Semitic. If we get a critical mass of people, right, who denigrate that type of behavior, who are against that type of behavior, who will condemn that type of behavior, we can turn this platform so that anti-Semitism is frowned upon rather than the norm. So yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to flee the field or run away. I am going to be the exception, if you will. Love you guys. Love everyone except for even you. Yeah, I love even you. You know who you are. And we are going to raid out. Who are we going to raid out to? Who you guys want to raid into? Parallax? He's not streaming that I see. He's streaming right now? We're not raiding Red Affair. We can raid Real Radhom. You guys like him? I like Radhom. Check him out. Say hi. And I'll see you guys probably on Monday. And don't be anti-Semite. So bye-bye.